platinized through the rest of it.
And we're live. Hello, ladies and Germany.
Behave yourself, everyone.
What's up, Jackson?
Do we have to?
Jackson, aka Lost Chapters, is here. Can we get a shout out for the Lost Chapters, guys?
Hey, Lost Chapters, there you go.
Make sure you go check out Lost Chapters on a Thursday night, where Cameron, down here below me, is DMing Storm King's Thunder with the Lost Chapters and their crew. I will be joining that campaign at some point in the future.
Yes, you will. It's coming up soon, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, so, I had a feeling that you were going to say that, because last episode I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. I think that's where close to where Evie said, you know, his character's hiding.
Yeah.
Can't give away too much to Jackson's in the channel, but yeah.
So,
it's only Jackson.
Yeah. But yeah, so I will be joining the Lost Chapters at some point in that campaign, so definitely go chuck them a follow and check them out. Support those guys. They have been a big supporter of us, as well as us being a big supporter of them. So make sure you do that. How's everyone's week been so far from last episode, Sunday nights? We did, I think it was what, 52 or 53 of the Paradigm campaign. It was a good show. We had lots of RP and some information given out with their characters, so that'll be cool to see next episode what goes on from there. As for this episode 4, I believe, technically 5 because we did a session 0, but this is episode 5. So I'm one behind. That's right, Durst, the Durst Crypts Part 2.
It's on your...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at
Just
that.
saying.
I don't have that stuff up, so.
Okay.
I knew someone would correct me. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, there's always someone that will pull me up on my mistakes. Right, so with that, without any further ado, if no one's got anything else they need to say or want to say before we get started, we will get started. Set the mood with the creepy noises coming from the basement. Make sure it's not too loud. Right, so recap. So when we last left off with the new adventurers heading into the Barovia region, well, demi-plane, you'd all just recovered from dealing with a ghoulish creature in a bedroom when Skathis and the rest of the group, you decide to keep moving forward further into the bowels of the Durst Manor's crypts. Skathis headed for a closed door. As he reached to open this door, the door shifted and changed shape, revealing a large toothy maw, large menacing eyes, and a python-like tongue snaking out and gripping tightly onto Skathis' arm. Karnos then moves forward to aid Skathis in attacking this beast. Zadriel misjudges a javelin throw, unfortunately hitting Karnos in the process. Adok even joins in, attempting to slash at this creature with his little silver short sword. Emilia, however, sitting back, relaxing, feet up on the table, watching the show. Everyone sort of got involved and made their attacks. Finally, Skathis dealing the killing blow to this creature, destroying it, leaving a rather sticky, goopy mess in the doorway. Continuing further forward, you find yourselves in a large room flanked by several skeletons, all shackled to the walls. A large wooden statue of a man with a wolf, and in his hand a crystal orb. Mirabelle, being curious and of her nature, wanting to check out this orb, was warded away by, warned off it by Adok, who pretty much said, "Don't touch it, it's bad." And a lot of discussion was then had. Was determined that maybe time for a rest was on the cards. He then retreated back to the area you previously had encountered the door creature and decided to rest. In that time, Karnos, spying on Emilia, discovers that she was able to shapeshift into a large direwolf. Kind of freaked out by this, he warned several other of the party to keep an eye on her, as she could be dangerous. I don't think many of them believed him. He had, by this point, consumed a little bit of alcohol and was coming across as a little crazy at this point. But, nevertheless, people did heed his warnings. Emilia and Zadriel had an interesting discussion, bonding in a fashion, sharing some things about themselves. After resting, you guys all then moved back into the skeleton room, where Karnos, after a detect magic spell from Adok revealing the magical aura on the statue, decided to try and sever the arm of the statue, failing quite spectacularly with not much damage at all to the arm, knocking the crystal orb to the floor, releasing a shadow which crept across the floor and up the statue, then eventually back across the floor, disappearing into the western wall behind one of the skeletons. From there, some investigations were made and a secret door was revealed, leading to a small staircase that was descending further into the bowels of the house. A trapdoor was also discovered, which led back into the den in the upstairs portion of the room, the house. And this is where we rejoin our party of adventurers as you descend the small staircase and find yourself in a large open room, several stone pillars holding up the ceiling. Around the outskirts of this room, you do see several smaller alcoves. The ghostly chanting seems to fill this room more so now that you've actually moved in here. There's a small, or two small corridors in the eastern wall of this room, one leading into almost complete pitch blackness, the other leading into a small corridor turning back to the north. As you move into this room and look around, you notice that in these alcoves there's several items. Look like they've been all carefully placed into these little cubbies. As you move around, a small mummified yellow hand with sharp claws. Adok, you recognise this bony hand almost immediately as a goblin's hand on a loop of rope. Further round, you find a knife carved from a human bone, a dagger with a rat's tail set into the pommel, another small varnished orb, looks like an eyeball of sorts, highly polished, an aspergillum, whatever the hell that is, carved from bone. Someone Google that if you don't know what it is, because I have no clue. A folded cloak made from stitched skin, it looks like. Very pale grey skin. A desiccated frog, sorry, lashed to a stick. A bag, small leather bag. It doesn't smell very good. You don't know what's in it, but it smells like shit, basically. There is a severed finger, looks humanoid. Okay, so an aspergillum is a a surgical instrument or a liturgical instrument sprinkled with holy water. Ah, right. It's one of those things you sprinkle holy water with. Cool. A 6-inch tall wooden figure of a mummy with arms crossed over its chest. Thank you, Cameron. It's a holy relic. There you go. An iron pendant adorned with a devil's face, the shrunken, shriveled head of a halfling, which Mirabelle you would recognise very distinct halfling features, and a small wooden coffer, which is open, which contains a tongue. of sorts. It looks like it might be an animal tongue of some, but it's withered and kind of gross looking. You've got, as you move around the room, you come across the first small tunnel, and this tunnel slopes downward at about roughly sort of 20-25 degree angle, and you can see water in the bottom of this small tunnel, and a rusted iron portcullis blocking the entranceway to the next room. Move around further, you find a corridor about 20 feet long before it turns into pitch blackness to the east. And to give you guys a quick notice at what you see. So this is the room you find yourselves in. The little alcoves around the outside are where all the item is. This is the door. I don't know if you can see my pointer there, but the door, or the hallway leading to the water and the portcullis, is on the bottom right of this picture, and the next one over, which is sort of bottom left of the room, leads down another corridor.
And we just came up the stairs, eh?
You've just come down the stairs and are now in this room.
Okay.
You're all sort of walking around the room, looking at all these items and these alcoves. And like I said, they all look like they've all been deliberately placed here.
Are the doorways all clear, like open doors, or are they closed?
They're both hallways, they're not doors.
Hallways, oh yeah.
They both lead to the east. To the west, sorry. So they lead to the west of this place. One leads downwards, a downward slope leading to a portcullis doorway, about 20 feet in. The other one is just a hallway that turns back to the north.
Can one of you detect magic on any of these items?
I can absolutely do that, although I will need another 10 minutes. And I will start to, with that, I'll sit down, plonk on the floor, start to meditate and chant and ritual cast.
I just instantly cast detect magic.
Do you let Adok continue with his ritual?
No, I tell him.
Or do you tell him?
Oh, you tell me?
I go up and tap him on the shoulder and go, I got this. And cast it.
Oh, right.
So you instantly cast detect magic,
Yeah.
and you look around the room. Apart from the magical items that you are currently carrying yourself and Mirabelle's backpack, which has the cloak in from previously, are the only things that are lighting up with arcane energy.
Did we tell?
No one's told her that thing is magical yet.
I'm gonna go up to Mirabelle and go, what do you got in your pack?
Why? Wrong accent. Oh, why?
Because magic is emanating out of it.
I'll take my pack off and I'll put it down and I'll just go, well, the only thing I've picked up in here is this thing, as I pick it.
As she pulls the cloak out of the pack, it's definitely the cloak that is emanating the arcane signature.
Ah, this is magical, and then I instant cast identify.
And she's now got to remember what that was. It was you cast the identify spell.
Yes.
And it's an instant cast, yes?
Yep.
And with that, you you instantly know that this is a cloak of protection, which is a +1 bonus to AC.
I should probably be wearing that then.
Good idea.
So,
Wow.
do you wish to put it on,
I
Mirabelle?
think I will.
When you put it on, it's huge, like it's human-sized. But the moment you put it on, it's with all of you watch this as she puts it on. It looks kind of comical to begin with. She swings this cloak around, and the cloak's got a hood on it. The hood comes up and covers almost her entire face, and the cloak is lying 1.5 foot across the floor behind her. It's huge. But within a few moments of her clasping the clip in front of her, it slowly form fits to her exact size. Zadriel and Karnos and Fibblesib, you've probably seen this before with other magical items. Skaithus probably not so much. Emilia probably not either. I'd say Adok probably has too, with his time in Barovia already, so it is kind of cool. And Mirabelle, you've never seen anything like this before. You've not dealt with any magical items.
Question.
Yes.
I said it needs to be attuned.
It does need to be attuned, yes.
So if I'm wearing it, will I attune as I wear it?
No. You'll have to... Well, it would. I'd say it would. The longer you have to wear it for 24 hours. So after, when you get complete your next long rest, you'll be attuned.
Sweet.
We'll go that way. Because I would say, as long as you've got it on, you would start to attune, especially something like that. So at the moment, you don't gain the benefits from it, but when you complete your next long rest, you will.
Looks very pretty on me, though, don't you think?
It is very pretty, as you put it. Because, funnily enough, what is Mirabelle's favourite colour, by chance?
She's got green boots.
I was going to say, is it green and blue?
Green, blue. So, also too, you find that the colour, it was originally a deep red cloak, but it changes colour to suit whatever you're wearing currently. So,
oh, so it suits my nice green boots.
It definitely. No, it's just a cloak of protection, which is and saving throws. Yes, it is. So it's called the Cloak of Protection, which gives you a +1 bonus to AC and saving throws while you're wearing it.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
Yeah. I didn't read that correctly, but you still need to be attuned for it. Yes.
Thanks, Spurs.
Yes, it would have come up when you when you attuned to it and equipped it. It would have actually added that to your D&D Beyond sheet anyway. Would have come up with the A on your saving, the +1 on your saving throws. Great thing about D&D Beyond, guys. Adds all your shit.
I haven't attuned yet, so I won't do that until I do that.
Exactly.
Wasn't there another magical item we picked up earlier? We didn't know about it until we detected magic.
A chain shirt as well.
Which is what Haddock is wearing?
I believe it was not a magical item, it's just a plain chain shirt.
I picked up a chain shirt, just a regular one.
Yeah. Now in that same room, the sword doesn't glow, the silver sword, that was just a standard, it was just a silver sword. The lantern, sorry, would have, who had the lantern?
I think I took the lantern.
Because the lantern will show up as magical as well, and with your identifier, if you wish to cast it again, you would be able to
do a ritual on that.
Do a ritual on that?
Yeah.
So with your ritual, with that one, you determine that the lantern is called the Bullseye Lantern. So in D&D Beyond, it's under Lantern, Bullseye. The Bullseye Lantern casts a bright light in a 60-foot cone and a dim light for an additional 60 feet. Once lit, it burns for 6 hours on 1 flask of oil. I think that was about it. The spellbook would obviously emanate an arcane presence as well, but Mirabelle knows what that is, and it just means that she can add those particular spells to her spell list if she doesn't have them already.
Do I need to put that in D&D Beyond? I couldn't remember.
No, because I mean most of those spells will be available to you anyway, because they're first and second level spells. So just like I said, I said to reiterate to you guys that all spellcasters on a short or long rest, you are able on a long rest, sorry, not short, you are able to swap out spells on a daily basis. So at the time of a long rest, if you wish to swap spells out, you can. So with that, those are the only magical items that you determine and have identified. But none of the items around the room emanate any kind of magic at all.
So, Mr. Stibb, none of the items are showing you magic. Is anything beneath the items or around the room, maybe?
In the room, no, nothing. Just the cloak and this. And I hold up the lantern. I go, got no oil. Need oil.
All right. Okay. All right. So free reign on who wants all the things in the little niches then.
Well, I heard something about a halfling something.
You saw a halfling something.
Shrunken halfling head.
Oh no, I don't want that. I was just going to go and have a look at it.
Yeah, Robert, your character had 6 spell slots that you could have used, and you hadn't added them. Now you can, if you go to manage spells on your spell list, it'll tell you that you are able to add a certain number of spells.
It says 4 first and 2 second, but before it didn't say that. It only said 1 and 1.
Yeah, that's odd, because I checked your sheet, and yeah, under known spells you would have had 2 cantrips, and then it usually has like 0 out of 6 depending on where you're at. Yeah. So you can actually have up to 6 prepared spells and 2 cantrips. So I added. You can change those out if you want to go through the list and change them out later on. I just added some that I thought were kind of specific to you. So just have a look at those and change them out if you want.
That's good. I'll keep them how they are until I rest next.
Okay.
Then I'll look at it.
Not a problem. So
Thank you.
So nothing around the room is emanating any kind of magic at all.
Was Mirabelle looking at that shrunken head?
What do you want to do? Just want to look at it? I can't hear you.
I actually want to go up and just kind of prod it.
You sure?
Yes. Kind of look at it and think, do I know you? Do you feel familiar to me?
You walk up to it, you look at it, make a history check to see if you might recognize this particular halfling. I mean, it's a shrunken head, so it's like literally probably two-thirds the size it used to be.
History check of 18.
Doesn't look familiar. I mean, it's a halfling, but there are lots of halfling villages and shires around the Sword Coast, so not all halflings know each other.
I'll just turn to the guys and say, not somebody I know, but I wonder why his head's here and how it got so small.
Do we want to keep going?
Pretty wicked interference coming from your mics. I'm not sure what that is. I'd say it's the aircon, but
Emily is going to walk forward and dip her hands in the water by the doorway, heading out of the room.
so you're going to go down the small incline or decline, sorry, to the water. The water is really, it's not clean. as you move forward, and does anyone have a light going at this point? A torch? Because it's not exactly light down here. I know someone had a light spell up at one point.
I did have a light spell on my shield going down the stairs.
Okay. So we will say for argument's sake that if it runs out you would recast it. So you move forward with the light that's there, and the smell of the water hits you first. It's a very pungent smell. It's just not nice at all. It's murky. It's you can see that the rust from the portcullis has probably tainted the water somewhat as well. But just beyond reach, you spot the edge of a wooden wheel embedded into the wall, which is actually, it looks like it's on the other side of the portcullis. You can see the edge of it. And from where you're standing, Emilia, the chanting sounds like it's definitely coming from that room, the room beyond the portcullis. It's definitely more prominent in that area.
I would like to inspect the wheel.
You cannot reach the wheel. It's on the opposite side of the portcullis.
Do we have anything we can throw at the wheel?
Emilia is going to cast Shape Water and take a block of the water out. I don't remember how big the block is. Is it
5 foot cube, I think. Something like that.
Something like that. And then draw it out of the hole and basically make it into a giant triangle and stick it again, leaning against the wall. Outside of the water. Which will then, once it's done that, it'll probably just collapse into water on the ground anyway. So
you're wanting to shape the water into, you're going to take a cube of water and shape it and move it away from the doorway?
I'm going to take a cube of water out of the thing down the hole,
yes,
and bring it out, and make it into a giant triangle, and then freeze it so it leans against the wall.
Don't know that you're able to freeze it.
It says I can. It's the bottom one on the thing.
Oh yes I do. It is.
You freeze the water provided that there's no creatures on it. Water unfreezes in an hour.
There you go then. So you do just that. And it indeed does freeze. And is leaning against the wall. However, the moment you lift that cube of water out of the area that you have taken it from, it just fills back up with more water. You get the impression that the room beyond obviously has probably quite a substantial amount of water in there.
Okay.
Can I have a look around to see if there's any mechanisms or anything running from the room that we just came from to that door?
Roll investigation. And Emilia, you've noticed at this point the water is about 2 feet deep where you are standing in front of the portcullis.
I got a 7.
7? You can't see anything mechanical that would lead you to believe that there is any way of opening this from your side.
Is Carnos still back in the last room?
I'd say most the corridor's only about 10 or 20 feet long and 10 feet wide, so you wouldn't be able to all fit down. So I'd say most of you are probably still in the main chamber.
Can I please check all the? It's probably a big ask, but check the niches with all the items.
You want to move around and just have a look?
Yeah, I just want to investigate.
It'll take you a little bit of time, but
I mean, someone could help me.
If anyone wishes to aid,
I will help.
I'll help him as well.
So you're all collectively. So I'll get everyone to roll an investigation, and we'll take an average. So everyone that's helping Carnos, are you asking them to look for something specific, Carnos?
Yeah, Karnos says, hey guys, maybe check for some, I don't know, switches or activating devices, secret door panel, something that might activate. It seems odd that these things would be in these little niches for no apparent reason.
While you guys are rolling that, Emilia, you wanted to say something?
I'm not going to roll. I'm just going to stand and admire my triangle.
It's a pretty impressive triangle. A triangle block of frozen water. Adok.
I'd like to walk up to Fiddlestip, and I'm going to walk up to him and I'm just going to say, Fiddlestip,
Yes.
you've got pretty good eyes, yeah? You're pretty smart, dude.
Yeah.
Alright, give me a hand for a second.
Hand.
And then I'm going to clasp his hand, and I'm going to cast guidance on Fiddlestip.
Okay. So just let the viewers know what guidance does for Fiddlestip.
Okay, so it's concentration up to a minute. So Fiddlestip, up to a minute, you get to once add a d4 to one ability check of your choice.
So mark that down. Don't forget to chat. You do have the ability to give a player of your choice luck or inspiration using your channel points as well. So we'll go around the crew here. So Adok, your investigation, please. 6. Skathis, yours.
Not helping.
You're not going to help at all, or was it just a bad roll?
Well, I rolled a 2, so
yeah,
no,
so
not
you're not
helping.
helping. No. So we've got a 6 and a 2 so far. Zadriel.
I got an 11.
11. Mirabelle, were you helping?
I too got an 11.
And Karnos.
And Karnos got stuck on one shelf. He's got a 6.
See, with everyone helping out,
And I got an 18.
you got an 18. So even with the 18, with everyone helping out, it takes you about 45 minutes. Everyone seems a little distracted about what they were looking for, and maybe got a little sidetracked with these dinky little items that are in these little cubbies, and you do not find any form of switch or lever, anything that would lead you to believe that you would be able to open this portcullis from your side. Karnos.
Karnos says, well, that fucks that idea. Karnos would like to, if he can, you said there was a human bone knife?
Yes, there was a looked like a knife carved from human bone.
Karnos would like to take that knife, and is there anything of a similar size and shape in one of the other cubby holes?
There's another severed finger. There's the aspergillum, carved from bone as well.
He will take the knife and the severed finger, and put them in his pack.
So, Markin, you have a knife carved from human bone and a severed finger, which also looks humanoid.
As Karnos is doing that, I'm going to look to Karnos and go, you know that could be cursed, yeah?
Adok, you make a valid perception there. However, I did already foresee this and ask yourself and Fibble to do a check on magic if it was cursed. I believe we may have seen a cursed item, but in this case we did not. I feel I am safe at this point. And no rolling boulders when we lifted them.
Yeah. Well, we could have been lying to you.
That is true, and then I would probably be dead, or I wouldn't be hurt, and then I would chop your head off.
Fair enough, fair cop.
That is my attempt at a joke.
Not very good.
Agreed, just like our inspection.
What was on the other side of the portcullis?
It's just a very dark room. The light from Zadriel's shield probably wouldn't have been close enough at that point to determine what's actually on the other side. But it looks like a very large, dark room. Who has dark vision in the group, just out of curiosity?
I've got it.
So, Adok, Skathis, Emilia, Bibblesip, does Zadriel have dark vision? And Mirabelle, I know Carnos does not, because he's human. Mirabelle, do you have dark vision? No, you don't. And Zadriel doesn't either. So, Emilia, you would have seen with your dark vision, with the amount of light, that it is a large square chamber. In the center of this chamber is a layered... Oh, you do? Okay. So you have a layered platform of sorts, like it steps up out of the water, and on the top of it, looks like, you can't really tell what it is from here, but it's a large sort of stone platform. Looks like there's chains hanging down from the ceiling, and around the outside of the room is like a raised platform that's sort of literally goes around the entirety of the outside of the room. Fibblesip.
Is there 4 tiny non-magical objects in this room?
Yes, pretty much all those objects in this room are tiny. Not tiny, they're small, tiny to small, and they're all non-magical.
Okay, I'm going to pick up 4 of them, juggle them a little bit, and then put magical tinkering on them.
Yes.
Make them radiate light, which is a 5-foot radius.
Yes.
And I'm going to throw them through the portcullis to try to light up the room a bit more.
Specifically, where do you wish to throw them? Because from where you are, what you see is a lot of water also.
Kind of like one that way, one straight ahead.
Okay. So
yeah, just to spread it out, just so that there's because of the dark vision, try to give us a little bit more.
2 strength checks, please.
An 18 and a 9.
18 and 9. So with that, you throw these items through. The first couple land. One lands in the sort of towards the centre of the room on the bottom step of this platform. Another lands on the very edge of the raised platform that's running around the outside of this room. And as you throw the next sort of 2 in around the other side to sort of get a bit more light on the other side, you hear ploop, ploop as it drops into the water. The light does still emanate through the water, but it's very murky and green and browny coloured. So it doesn't really emanate into the room, but you can see where the light is in the water. It does brighten the room up somewhat, so you can see what I will then show you is what you see at this point from where you are. Is pretty much that. So at the top of the room there, you've got the portcullis, which is closed. You can see where the wooden wheel is, just on the right of the door, or on the right of the picture, but to you would be the left of the door. You see a couple of small stairwells leading up to this platform, which runs around the entirety of the outside of the room. The large platform in the centre looks like, now with the light there, looks like a large altar of some sort. 2 chains with shackles on the end of them hanging from the ceiling above this platform. Across the other side, you also see the platform and another set of stairs. You can just make out possibly a hole in the wall on the other side, but you're not entirely sure from this distance. And the chanting is definitely coming from that room.
Right. Okay. So, what do we do now, team?
We need to get through the portcullis, right, Mr. Stubb?
Yeah, come on. Start lifting.
Is it made of metal?
Certainly is. Rusted iron.
If we could either try and lift it, or one of yourself or Adok with the skills of the mighty craftsman could blow it to pieces.
Cannon, huh?
Yeah, see, and now you have Zadriel even agreeing. This is a first, and I like it.
I was just about to say I could, like shoot at it with the cannon. Hopefully hit it. Maybe not Scathers this time.
Oh well, if everyone gets them out of the way, so that cannon and you use scope, no problem. Boom boom do job.
Excellent. Carlos walks away.
Right out of the way.
Emilia moves across the room.
Yeah.
So you position your cannon in the optimal position to, because the pathway leading down to the portcullis is angled. So I'm assuming that you're able to position your cannon in such a way that it will still strike the portcullis in the desired place. I would say you won't have to roll to hit. It is pretty much a straight shot. It's not like you can actually miss it, so just roll damage.
I've got an 8.
8 damage. So 8 force damage as the cannon fires and is extremely loud in this echoey subchamber of the Durst manor. And you hear the creaking of old metal as a couple of it's a portcullis, so it's belted iron. So you think of the old medieval portcullises that are straps of iron that have been not welded, but they've used melted sort of hot bolts somewhat and then hammered them over, so it's like rounded off rivets, iron rivets, so it's crisscross pattern. A couple of those have broken and splintered through and bent through. Not enough to crawl through at this point, but it has taken a little bit of damage.
With that, I'm going to turn back around to everyone else and be like, it didn't quite work that first time, so I'm going to do it again. Just cover your ears.
Sorry, what did you say?
And with that one, if you want me to roll for it.
No, just roll your hit damage again. Like I said, it's practically a point blank shot, so there's virtually no point in rolling to hit. If you couldn't hit a door that's right in front of your cannon, I'd be surprised.
I got an 18.
18. With that, you all hear the scream of rusted iron as it bends and moves, and also you all feel the whole place shake a bit more, and dust and that falls from the ceiling. You hear a few of the sound of things hitting water as, again, above where the portcullis is, they start to come away with the force of the blow. After a few seconds, you then hear sploosh as the portcullis falls inward into this room and just hits water. The loud sort of thud and splash as it sends water rippling into the next room and sort of splashing backwards in that as well. But you now have opened an entryway into the next room.
Carlos jumps up and goes, woo! He's like, now that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
What?
Sorry, can't hear you. What?
It was very loud. After the echo of the cannon subsides, and the one thing almost immediately you notice is who's closest. So Adok, you're probably closest to the cannon. Do you move forward into the next room straight away, or do you wait?
I will definitely wait, yeah.
Who's going to be the first to step forward and move into the next room? Carlos?
Yeah, Carlos is keen as after the cannon goes off. He sort of does his woohoo where no one hears because he's kind of behind them all at the back, and then he grabs his axe and shield.
Can
and
we have a marching
forward.
order behind Carlos, please? Emilia.
Being that they've fired the cannon basically into water, does that mean it splashed water over everything?
Pretty much.
Like pungent smelling?
Well, it didn't. It splashed it forward. Like it would have. It wouldn't be any coming back per se because it was forward into the next room. So.
Okay, I'm going to be at the back. So.
Okay. So give me a marching order behind Carnos, please. So Zadriel straight after Carnos, Mirabelle, Fibblestib, and Adok, Skathis, and then Emilia. Happy with that order? So you move forward. Karnos and Zadriel, you'll be the first to know. Well, you all notice it, but Karnos and Zadriel specifically, probably the first to realise. The moment you sort of splush into it's 2 feet of water as you move into this room. You move in past the sort of stairwell. As you look left and right, you with the light orbs that are still in here. Several steps, like 4 or 5 steps leading up to a platform that goes around the entirety of this room. On the opposite side, directly across from you, the stairs come down again, and you can see a large hole in the wall opposite you. It's a dark, dingy, dark hole. You can't really make out what's here. It looks like just a pile of old bones and potentially this is possibly where the Dursts may have been doing whatever they were doing, and this is where they've piled up the dead. Mirabelle.
Just looking at how deep that water is, can I kind of look at one of the taller people and say, would you be able to put me on your back, please?
How tall are you?
4 foot.
Yeah, so it'd be up to basically waist height. Adok and Fibblesib, you guys would be much the same. But you do notice the stairs. As you go through, there are stairs on the side, so you can actually go up either side onto a platform, so you don't actually have to go into the water. It's up to you.
Yeah, I would go on the platform.
So
Same. I've got the same side.
yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
Fibblesib,
I think I'll
Adok,
go
and Mirabelle, you know, seeing the water is roughly 2.5 feet deep. You move into the room, you think, oh shit, it's a bit deep, and you then find the stairwell and move up. So you go left or right at the door. Your choice. Left.
I'll follow.
You'll follow, so you all go the same way. Emilia.
Emily will go around to the right on the same thing.
It's on the platform as well.
Yep.
So who is remaining in the water, moving towards the centre of the room? Karnos, Zadriel, and Skathis. Okay. So you move forward. Immediately, the chanting stops as you peer into this 40-foot square room. The smooth masonry walls provide excellent acoustics. Featureless stone pillars support the ceiling. A breach in the west wall leads to a dark cave heaped with refuse, bones, looks like vines and leaves and such. It's just a big pile of crap, basically. And the smell in here is not great. Murky water covers most of the floor. The stairs lead up to dry stone ledges that hug the walls. In the middle of the room, however, more stairs rise to form an octagonal dais that also raises above the murky water. Rusty chains with shackles dangle from the ceiling directly above a stone altar mounted towards the back of this dais from where you are standing. The altar is carved with hideous depictions of grasping ghouls and stained with dry blood.
With that description, I'm going to then, seeing that, I'm going to slowly start walking backwards back out of the room.
So you're going to leave the room?
Just slowly.
Just slowly? Okay.
Yeah.
Do I see this?
You probably do notice it because you're right there with him, and so would Mirabelle.
Where are you going, Adok?
Oh, I just realised that I, probably left the cannon back there, and that's not, I'm just gonna.
You can walk. Get in here yourself.
Yeah, all right, no worries.
Do you stay or do you continue to leave?
I'm gonna stay.
You
Yeah.
stay. Karnos, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just as I mentioned, as they walk around the edge, Karnos would head straight up onto the octagonal platform to check out the
So you're right up on the
altar.
dais. Yeah, it's a large stone altar. So as you get closer to it, you look up, you see the shackles hanging from the ceiling, and they look like they're going to be adjusted in height to accommodate for different heights of person, maybe, or something. You notice the dais itself is it's covered in quite a fair bit of old dry blood. Some patches older than others, like darker browns and dried and scaly. It's definitely old. There's like nothing fresh there, but you can see I mean, your knowledge as an adventurer, you've seen dried blood, you've seen fresh blood. You could probably, if you want to make a medicine check to determine sort of how old it is, you can. But you know it's fairly old. It's been there for quite some time.
Yeah, I'll make the check. That's 11.
11. It's definitely old dry blood. You couldn't determine exactly how old it is, but it's not recent by any stretch of the imagination. So what are we doing, ladies and gents?
Do not see a monster, do you?
No, I don't believe so, Miss Adriel. There is old dry blood on this altar. Anyone, any ideas?
Should we have put something from the other room on it, maybe? Oh.
I did bring a finger. How gross was this finger, DM?
It was pretty decent. I mean, it's been there for a long time. It's dried. When you touched it, it was very brittle. So it's there's like nothing gooey about it. Let's say it's very dry and old and almost mummified.
I don't know so much if we should be putting anything on this altar. It looks like maybe it's sacrificial, which could be bad.
Well, we came here to lure the monster to kill it, yeah? So don't we want bad?
That's, I guess, mate, do you want me to lie on the altar?
Adok, Carnos wants to sacrifice himself.
That is not a good idea. Would not recommend. Has anyone else noticed that the chanting stopped?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And at this point, for those that entered the room later than the others, yeah, you all sort of stop and listen now, thinking, shit, he's right. The chanting is stopped. It is quiet. You hear the wind sort of blowing through the corridors down the back. That same sort of eerie, reverby sound you get in a underground sort of area, but no chanting.
Carnos takes the dagger and the finger out of his pack that he pulled from the little shelves, and he carefully places them on the altar, looking around the crew to watch for what they're, are they going to say no? But he's slowly hovering them over.
What are you doing, Limpy?
Just, Zadriel was saying we want bad, right? So if I put something on the altar, the big bad will come, and then bam, we attack it.
Maribel, do you want to say something before?
Through a hole.
Oh, okay. Adok.
As you're doing that, Adok's gonna look at you and go, well, you said the altar's covered in blood, yeah?
Yes, correct.
You've got a dagger.
Also true.
Stab yourself. Put your blood over it. If you want. If not, we could just leave. That's also an option. I vote for that. Anyone else? I'll put my hand up.
I actually think I'm with him at this stage.
I'm not totally into stabbing myself either. Don't think that is top of my list as being a hero.
Just give yourself a little nick, not like a deep one. Don't cut like an artery. Just Look, the altar's covered in blood, so maybe you gotta add some more blood to it.
I'll prick you if you like.
Carnos looks at the
prick himself.
Carnos looks at the little dagger and goes, Maribel, I feel like I can trust you. And he hands her the dagger and he says, just cut a bit and we'll see what happens.
Just give me your hand and I
As they go
smash
to
it.
do that, I put my hand out for it to be sliced.
Oh, so you offer your hand instead of Carnos's?
Yep.
So Skathis steps up and just holds his hand out in front of you and looks at you, Carnos, as if to say, here, use my blood.
Well, that's alright, I'll stick his and then I'll stick his as well.
We shouldn't really share needles.
It's not a needle.
You
What's a
know,
needle?
well, I mean,
They usually use a needle for sewing.
blood to blood. I mean, if he's got the plague, I could get the plague, and vice
But he
versa.
stabbed you first, so you know he's probably in more trouble than you are.
Sorry, Cedric.
You are carrying a decaying hand around. I think you already have something, probably by now.
You could be correct. Go for it.
So whose hand are you going to cut, Mirabelle?
Both of them.
Which one first?
I got Carnos and then I
See,
twacked.
you how do you cut them specifically? You just like
Slash.
So you literally slash across the palm of their hand.
Yep.
She wasn't gentle about it by the look of that either, guys. So it's a pretty. You both take 2 points of slashing damage. As Mirabelle just opens a relatively deep wound across the palm of your hand. The blood starts to flow freely. What are you guys both doing with your hands and the dripping blood? The blood is now starting to pool into the palm of your hands.
Let that drip on the center of the...
You're a little quiet, Trash.
Yeah, if he's letting it drip onto the altar, I'm going to squeeze my hand over the altar as well, and just sort of squeezing my hand, get as much as I can out onto the altar, looking around.
Emilia, on seeing the blood, basically covers her eyes and crouches basically into the water,
Okay,
facing away.
no problem. Duly noted. Adok, Fibblestib, and probably not Mirabelle, because you've... hang on, you were up on the platform, Mirabelle, so how could you cut their hands? You would have had to go through the water to get to them. So you wade through the water?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're probably now very wet.
Yeah.
And very smelly, because it's not
Cold.
it's not great water. Well, it's not cold, but it's very smelly. And you cast lit on yourself. Well, you could cast lit on yourself while watching your chat. But yes, so you've waded through the water. So you're a bit smelly from the water, but you cut the hands. So Fibblestib and Adok, you notice Emilia, the moment that Mirabelle cuts Carnos's and Skather's hand, turn away and crouch into the water. Emilia.
You'd say she's clearly shaking, like she does not want to see that.
Okay. So she's visibly shaken.
So I'm gonna nudge Adok and go, what's that all about?
Don't really know. Maybe she doesn't like blood.
She
Oh,
didn't mind the blood beforehand.
yeah. How weird for a werewolf.
Maybe Carnos's blood smells like alcohol.
Makes sense. I mean, look at him. I don't think the wobble is from his leg.
Can I hear this?
That probably not, because they're both standing together on the platform on the outside of the room. So I would say if they wanted to not be heard, they probably could.
That's fine.
So it's up to you guys whether your conversation was loud enough for the whole room to hear or quiet enough to just be you.
Nah, just in between the two of us, because I'm pointing out what Emily is doing.
No problem.
Don't want her to know what's going on either.
Not a worry.
Would they have seen me interacting with blood before?
No. No, they were the two times that you've done that. The Zadriel was the only one that saw it. Second time, the first time everyone was asleep.
Yeah, my ritual's only been done when people have been asleep or
So Zadriel's the only one that's ever seen you do anything of that nature, and she was again. That was just your own blood on your sigil. So with that, as your blood spills forth onto the ritual altar, all of a sudden, Adok and Fibblestib, you're probably definitely the first to see this. One by one, almost immediately, 12 shadowy figures appear standing around on the platform on the outskirts of this room. They are ethereal. You are able to see through them. They are hooded. You see no faces. They are all carrying torches. The torches seem to swallow light rather than emanate light. However, 13 of these dark apparitions appear on the ledge overlooking the room. Each one resembles a black-robed figure holding a torch. All of these torches, the fire is black and seems to draw light in. Where you'd expect to see faces are just black voids. Another chant starts. Not the same as before. One must die. One must die. Over and over. Not loud, just slightly above a whisper at this point, but over and over again. One must die. Mirabelle.
On hearing this, I like look at everybody and I'm like, who's the one? Who's going to? Bag's not me.
Haddock.
I'm gonna nudge Fiddlestick right way and go, we're leaving now, quick.
Fiddlestick, do you react?
I'm gonna actually say, guys, this shit ain't good. Let's get the fuck out of here. This is just wrong. This shit's wrong.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Carlos fixing his hand with a bit of rag from his bag, and he says, "No, this is what we came here for. One must die. The one should be the creature from the basement that the kids were talking about, right? Not
No. This is a sacrifice. They're saying one must die. This shit ain't good.
Unless
Get out of here.
Unless it's a riddle, right? And the guy's name's One."
Carnos, no, for fuck's sake, we're going.
Or you guys can go. I'm staying. Did you say there was a archway or something, a block of wall that was broken down?
Yeah, it was opposite the door you came in. Like, there's a large section of the room which has been broken away, and it's a giant, like an alcove, almost like a cave. And that, in it is more water and just a big pile of bones and refuse, and it's just like stuff's just been piled up there. Like, looks to you from where you're even glancing over there, it looks like a potentially where they've probably dumped the bodies of the people that they've sacrificed on this altar.
Carnos previously had his gear stashed in his bag because he was doing the blood thing. Pulls his crossbow from the side of his pack and fires a single bolt into that direction, into the dark.
Roll to hit. Trying to hit anything specific or just in the general direction?
Just in the general direction to see if anything.
Roll to hit. And I will make
24
it to see what you hit.
24.
24. You do hit. You hear it metal on concrete as it seems to strike the back wall of whatever this is. It goes into darkness and you hear kink, and then flush as it probably ricochets off the wall and lands in the water.
Alright, Carlos is like, see, there's nothing there. We just have to push forward and defeat this great evil before we can leave. Who's with me? And he's looking around the crew.
Roll a persuasion check. To see if you can rally your group.
Oh, maybe not. What's that? 13.
13. Well, team, Carnos' speech, as riveting as it was, I will leave it up to your discretion to whether you decide to rally to his aid or argue the point. The roll was probably not high enough to inspire anyone to really stay if they really, really want to go. So we'll just pretty much up to you guys what you want to do.
Carnos, Big Bad not here. Let's go find Big Bad.
Zadriel.
I would like to cast Divine Sense in the room to see if I see anything other than us. Celestial Fiend undead within 60 feet.
Celestial Fiend or undead within 60 feet.
Other than party.
Other than the party? The figures do not show up in that particular spell. The figures are still there. The chant is still continuing. It's growing slightly louder. And not more frantic, but definitely a little faster in cadence, but it is definitely getting louder. The pile in the corner in the cave of the room, the pile of refuse, does give off a fiendish fiendish imminence, shall we say. Adok.
Following off Fiddlestep, Adok's gonna put his ears up to the ceiling and go in a loud voice, "Oh, Karnos, did you hear that? I think it's the big bad. I feel like it must be outside of this place."
Roll a deception check. Karnos, roll insight to see, basically, insight versus deception.
I got a 7.
Ah, 15.
Yeah, you definitely don't believe him.
Carlos looks back and goes, "I know what you're trying to do, and it's admirable. You think you're helping, but really, I don't mind. I got this group together back in the tavern, and I did say it was about being heroic, saving lives, maybe making money. If you're not cut out for it, that is fine. Scafus, are we going ahead, mate? Zadriel, you too?"
I would like to point to the pile and say I have noticed it is there. I think it is there in that pile.
Emilia.
With that Scafus ready's staff to...
Okay. So you're readying yourself. Emilia, what are you doing through all this?
Emily is basically looking up from basically being crouched in a ball.
Yep.
And sort of realise that all the ethereal, whatever the heck they are, people were standing there, sort of looking around, but confused than anything.
So Zadriel, you've now pointed out that, and would have said it loud enough so everyone have heard, that something is in that cave. You believe that the big bad, as you've been calling it, is over there, and you've pointed to the alcove where the pile of stuff is. Nothing's moved there at the moment. Like, it's still just a pile of refuse. Nothing's moving, but it's definitely giving off a fiendish signature.
I guess we have to go to it, and I don't want to.
DM,
Yes.
how big is this room?
40-foot square. And about 35, 40 feet high in the ceiling.
So the refuse is over in the corner.
Yes. Probably 20, 25 to probably 20 feet from where you are. Like, if you guys are in the center, from where you are, 40 feet from you, because you're on the platform just by the door. So it'll be 40 feet across the room from you, and about 20 feet from Zadriel, Skathis, and Karnos and Mirabelle.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast Fairy Fire on the refuse.
On the pile itself?
On the pile itself.
Is there a save for that?
If there is a creature there, it needs to make a dex save.
If there is a creature there, indeed. Second. Interesting. You cast Fairy Fire on the mound itself. Whatever is there fails to save, and is now has Fairy Fire cast on it.
It would have been outlined in a violet light.
It certainly is, and the moment the Fairy Fire spell takes effect, the mound starts to move. It starts to raise out of the water, ever so slowly, The chanting stops. The figures still remain, but the "one must die" chant ceases. As you all watch as a large pile of vines and bones, watery, slimy, dripping off this creature, raises to about 12 feet in height. 4.5, 5 feet in width. It then turns slowly and lifts its humongous arms, which now comes out to about 6 or 7 feet of its arms, sort of slightly apart from its body. And we will all roll initiative, please. Karnos, your initiative.
14.
Skathis.
5.
5. Mirabelle, your initiative, please. 2. Holy crap. Zadriel.
15.
15. Fibblesteb.
12.
12. Emilia.
16.
16. One moment, my thing has not added in ad hoc, so I have to make an adjustment here. So I need to get those in. I need to get those again. Sorry, guys. Been a pain in the ass. So, Carlos, what was yours? 12, wasn't it?
14, mate.
14 for you. Ad hoc. Now that you're in there.
11.
11. Skathis, yours was low. 5. Mirabelle was 2. I remember that one. Zadriel was 15. Fibblestep, what was yours?
12.
12. And Emilia.
16.
16.
Just after I cast the spell, I go, see, there's nothing to fit. Oh, shit.
And with that, as Fibblestep says, oh shit, the chanting ceases. The portcullis, Adok, you're the first to notice this, you're probably the closest, along with Fibblestep, raises out of the water on its own, replacing itself back in the doorway, blocking any escape from this room. And with that is the creature's turn first. As this creature slowly shuffles forward into the room, coming towards Karnos, Skathis, Mirabelle, and Zadriel, who are up on the dais. It moves slowly, but it manages to traverse to 20 or so feet to get to you. It will make its first attack at probably Karnos, I would say, would be the closest to it as it moves forward. Oops, excuse me. It reaches out and attacks you twice, Karnos, with its large, viney, sort of real thick vines make up its arms. But what you do notice as it reaches forward, you notice the skulls and the bones of all manner of victims making up this creature as well. Its first attack is a 19.
That hits me.
It does 10 points of bludgeoning damage. Its second attack is a 16.
That is also a hit.
And its second attack does 6 points of bludgeoning damage. You'll also need to make a strength check, please.
21.
You save on the strength check as the creature reaches forward with its large arm, reaches up and slams down on you with amazing force. Not once, but twice as both arms. One comes up, slams down on one side of your chest. The other comes up and slams down on the other side just above your shoulder. And as it hits you with the second one, you feel the vines attempt to wrap around your shoulders and neck, but you manage to pull away before it manages to firm its grip. And it you can't see any eyes or anything up close. It stinks. It's horrible. It's a real horrible thing to look at. All these bones and vines and the water and the slime. It is not a pretty sight. Just 1 second. And with that, it's then its hands retreat backwards, trying to grab you and not being able to fall back to its side, and it just stands there. You can almost hear it breathing. You can see it moving, but it's not really making any sound apart from the dripping water and the creaking of the vines and the clicking of bones as it moves. With that, Emilia, it is now your turn. You are approximately, now with it moving forward, about 20 feet from it on the opposite side of the dais.
Well, Emily is basically going to try and regain her composure.
Yes.
From her obvious bit from a second ago.
No problem.
Which you're going to take?
What are you going to
take and stand up?
Yes.
And she's, after seeing the bashing that Karmas has just taken, she's going to cast level 1 healing word on him.
No problem. What is the amount of heals that Karnos receives?
7.
Karnos, you feel a warm feeling come over you all of a sudden as you receive 7 points of healing.
Thank you, lady.
And that's just going to end my turn.
It's going to end your turn. With that, Zadriel, it is now your turn with Karnos on board after that. So Zadriel, you've witnessed this creature rise from beneath the water, slowly lumber forward, reach out and hit Karnos with some pretty severe force, pretty much right in front of you. It is standing 12 foot tall, about 6 feet wide, and it is just there breathing heavily. And sort of slowly, you can see it sort of moving from side to side as if it was, you can't see any eyes or head, but it looks like it's looking around the room to sort of surveying its prey to some extent. So it is now your turn.
I would like to Warhammer with Divine Smite if I
Warhammer
could.
with Divine Smite. So bonus action Divine Smite. I know you get Divine Smite automatically, don't you?
It's just, yeah, automatic, yeah. 19, does it hit?
That does hit.
And the Warhammer hits for 10.
So 10 points of bludgeoning damage with a Warhammer.
And
your Divine Smite as well.
The Divine Smite hits for 19.
You also get advantage with Fairy Fire too, guys, I believe. Can you confirm, Fibblestib?
Yeah, I do believe.
I do believe you get advantage on the attacks.
Yeah,
so what was the Divine Smite damage, sorry?
19.
19. So 19 points of radiant damage flashes out as Zadriel surges forward, raises a Warhammer, brings it down onto the upper chest and arm of this creature, splintering bits of vine and bone as she impacts, and then the divine energy sparking out with a radiant light.
And I would like to have my protection reaction active, so anything it hits in besides me, you get a disadvantage.
On the attack, no problem.
Yeah. And as a bonus, I would like to cast Shield of Faith on Skathis.
And what does Shield of Faith do?
Shield of Faith will give him a +2 bonus to his AC.
So Skathis, just make a note of that at the moment. How long does that last?
10 minutes.
So for the next 10 minutes you have a +2 to your AC as long as Zadriel is concentrating.
That's
That
it.
is your turn. Karnos, it is now your turn. You've just taken 2 massive hits from this creature.
Yes, I have. Karnos, feeling beaten, feels a little revived from the spell that hit him and started to repair some of his damage. He was previously holding his crossbow, so he puts that away and grabs out his shield and his battle axe, which he's single-handedly at the moment.
Yes.
That will cost me a bonus action.
Yeah, we'll say bonus action.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've got no movement, so it has to be, I suppose. And with that, he will say, "All right, guys, this is where I should flourish. Try and keep us up. You guys at the distance and spells, try and put this down." And he goes, "Rah!" and just hacks straight down into it with his battle axe.
Single-handed battle axe attack.
Natural 20.
Your natural 20. First natural 20 of the night.
Thanks, advantage, because the other one was a 5. So that is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 slashing damage.
17 slashing damage.
And with his bonus action, oh no, I have used that already. That is it for Karnos.
That is it for Karnos. So Karnos, shield up, single-handed battle axe, you hack into its chest. Again, splintering vine and bits of bone fly off as you open up a pretty decent wound in this creature. You don't see blood per se, but you do see a liquid substance does ooze from the wound. Fibblesib, it is now your turn with Adok on board after that.
Right, so I'm going to grab Charlotte. Which no one would have seen me reload, and I'm going to fire.
Fire away, roll to hit.
Ooh, 25, so that's a natural 20.
Natural 20, and also roll a strength check, a strength save for me as well, please.
That is a 10.
With the 10, you do lose your footing on this, however, this time. You don't go prone, but you stumble backwards about 2 or 3 steps and hit the wall. You will take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as the back of your head sort of is forced back against the wall with the recoil of this full-size musket that you are firing. So just mark that point of damage. But your natural 20 does stand, and you will be able to roll your damage.
And it is 24 points of damage.
24 points of damage as a loud, echoing rifle shot emanates in this 40-foot chamber. And Adok, you were standing right next to Fibblesib. You watch him line up the shot with this weapon that is bigger than him, very long, and you watch as, because I'd say you'd be quite interested in seeing this thing fire. Flintlock, I believe.
Yes, and it would have actually been like a purple explosion because it's actually magical. The projectile.
So as the hammer drops, you get that spark of the flint, and then the puff of powder, which is not what you'd expect to see, but a more purple hue to the powder as the projectile then explodes from the barrel of this weapon. You also watch as Fibblesib is rocked back with the recoil, hitting his head quite hard on the wall as he staggers backwards. But he does succeed in his shot and makes you take quite a severe chunk out of one of the shoulders of this creature. And with that, is that your turn, Fibblesib, or do you have anything more you wish to do?
No, just that. So I rub the back of my head and go, gotta design something to stop this shit.
With that, Adok, you're up. Skathis, you're on board after that. You're muted, sir.
I'm going to look at Fiddlestick and I'm going to go, we will think of something to deal with that. Right, watch this. And then with that, is anyone in the way of the cannon firing? It's got a 120 feet range.
You've got Karnos, Zadriel, and Mirabelle and Skathis on the dais, but this thing's 12 foot high, so you would be able to easily shoot over their head and strike the creature.
Great. So with that, I'm going to line the cannon up with the
That's
scope,
awesome.
and I'm going to fire at this thing.
Line it up and fire. You do have advantage on your shot because of the fairy fire.
Cool. It is actually nat 20, so it's 26.
Another nat 20, guys. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That definitely hits with a natural 20.
And it is also 24 points of damage.
24 points of force damage as, again, an almighty boom rings out as Adok lines up and fires his tiny construct cannon. And you watch as bits of vine and bone and a large chunk of vine is stripped away from this creature. And it staggers back, sort of sways back and then leans forward. Again, not really making any sound apart from the creaking and groaning of vines, and you're hearing the splashing of water as bits and pieces are falling off this thing into the water. Is that your turn, Adok?
Well, how's it looking at this point? Is it looking alright, or is it looking pretty...
It's looking like it's taken a fair amount of damage by this point.
How far away is it from everyone? Because I've got something that can do, but it's a 20-foot radius.
It is within, it's within 5 feet of Zadriel and Karnos at this point.
Right, okay. Even with it being pushed back 10 feet?
It staggered back. It didn't move far away. It sort of rocked backwards and rocked back into place. It didn't actually move.
No problem. Yeah, that's no problem. So with that, I'm also going to look at Fiddlestick, give him a bit of a wink, and then I'm going to pull out, with my blowgun attached, I'm going to pull out my component pouch. He's going to see a little bit of black powder go in the blowgun.
Yep.
And then I'm going to cast Scorching Ray and fire at the
roll.
At the thing.
Is there a roll for that?
Yes, it is. So I believe it's make a range spell attack for each ray. So I'm going to do 3 spell attacks.
3 rays. So make your attacks.
Okay. So I've got 10 for the first one.
The first one goes wide and strikes the wall behind the creature.
Oh,
you do get advantage. It has fairy fire, so you do have advantage on the attacks.
Well, then that turns it to a 21.
That hits.
Right, cool. And then this second one is a 23.
That hits. And your
third one is a 24.
They all strike the creature. Whereabouts would you like these beams to strike the creature, just for flavor? Geez, this thing is massive, obviously over their head, but if it's anywhere with a cannon, I'd want it to go where the cannon's left an indent in there and sort of glow red hot as it burns from the inside out. Not a problem. Yeah. So make your damage rolls, please.
Okay, cool. So, I don't know how this works. So it's on a hit, the target takes 2d6, so 2d6 for each
2d6 for each ray, yep.
Jesus. So, because it's my arcane firearm as well, it's 4 points, it's a 1d8 on top of each damage.
So 2d6 plus 1d8 per ray then.
Yeah.
So it's huge.
Yeah, so it's 12 points of damage for the first one. 12
for the first.
Yeah.
And the second.
Second one is 12 points of damage.
And for the final
13 points of damage.
13 points of damage. With that, all of you see from the guys in the front of Melee, you just see these rays of fiery light to strike this creature right in the same position where the cannon had just blown a big chunk out of it and just light it up. It is now on fire and burning as these 3 rays just strike it, and you watch the creature stagger backwards 5 feet. So Karnos and Zadriel, you'll both get an attack of opportunity as it staggers backwards out of your melee range with this the impact of this weapon that has struck it. So Karnos, yours first, please.
19 to hit.
That does hit. Your damage.
5 damage.
5 damage. That is all you needed to defeat this creature. Karnos, would you describe how and where you strike this creature with your axe and how it dies?
For flavour, I'd like Zadriel, would you take the swing with us?
Yeah, you can both make the swing simultaneously, so...
Yes, so Carlos lifts his shield up and just pulls his battle axe back and just goes for, like, the centre mass. Where are you going for, Zadriel?
I will go for the top.
So as high as you can get?
Yep.
So you both sort of be hitting roughly centre mass. It's about 12 feet tall, so...
Sweet. I sort of imagine it. Yeah, she's going top and I'm going low. We almost dice in like a V shape together and sort of slash it through. And so
You've got an axe and a warhammer, so only
Oh,
one of
right,
you
a
slashing.
warhammer.
So.
Yeah, good point.
But either way,
she's come down on top. That's cool. I'm gone through the side, and yeah, as I get in, I'm just bashing it with my shield and pulling its innards, whatever it's made of, out.
no problem. It doesn't really have any innards per se, but as you do, indeed, as you strike, just give me one second here. I've got to check something here.
Pulling its compost out.
Pretty much.
Yeah, bones and
As
vines.
you strike, both strike at the creature as it staggers backwards from the impact of Adok's attack. Both of you strike simultaneously. Karnos coming through one side, almost like the woodsman, one-handed, coming across to chop down, make that final chop on a tree. Zadriel striking center mass with a warhammer, and both the blows almost sort of don't sever it. You make quite a large wound in its side. It staggers backward further. The wound opens where your axe hit it, Karnos, and a bright, radiant light starts to emanate from the inside of this creature. Zadriel, as your warhammer strikes down, breaks open the chest of this creature, again staggering backwards. And what you both see, being the closest to it, Skathis, you would probably see this also. Mirabelle would, you may catch a glimpse of it. I'd say, yeah, you probably see it too, you're close enough. You all see inside the center mass of this creature what looks to be an infant, a baby boy, naked, in the fetal position, bathed in radiant light. And then as the creature rocks back and falls into the water, after a few seconds it submerges just below the water and the radiant light fades and vanishes.
Skathis would like to rush to pick the baby up.
So you move forward to attempt to find the baby. This whole thing's now submerged and seeped under the water. So you goes looking through the water. You find vines. You're reaching into the wound, the open chest wound of this creature. You can't really see anything. It's beneath the murky water, but you can't feel or find anything in this open wound. But you swear you saw a baby.
Did it look like it was breathing or crying or anything?
In the brief moment that you saw it, you really couldn't tell. It looked like it was almost suspended in the womb. You know how you get those the pictures of the fetus in the womb, but he wasn't a fetus. He was definitely a fully formed child, but he was in that fetal position, suspended in a radiant sort of bubble inside this creature. Fibblestim and Adok, you also notice, and probably Emily at this point, that the moment the creature is destroyed, the cultists, the hooded figures, vanish. Chanting stops once more.
That was really fucking cool what I did, right? Yeah? Everyone see what I did.
That was awesome. You should do that more.
Yes, Adok, that was heroic.
I'm still looking.
He's still looking?
So Skathis is under the water?
He's not under the water, he's just hands in the water up to shoulder, just searching frantically through the water.
I'll help. I will probably help.
So you join and start searching for what you perceive to have been a baby as well. Mirabelle.
I was going to say when just before Skathis did that, I would have dived.
So you dove in as well?
Yeah.
You can hold your breath for, what's your constitution modifier?
It is +2.
Holy crap, you can hold your breath for 3 minutes. So you can hold your breath for a long time. So you're in the water. You guys would have seen Mirabelle, Zadriel, Karnos, Skathis probably not so much. She would have heard the splash, but Zadriel and Karnos You watch as Mirabelle just dives into the water towards this creature.
Would the baby had fairy fire because the monster had fairy fire, or no?
It seems to have dissipated when the creature was destroyed. But Skathis, you can't seem to find anything. Mirabelle, you can't see anything underwater. It is murky, dirty, stinky water. You're swimming around, you can feel the vines of this creature, but you can't see or feel anything at this point apart from the creature itself. Carnos.
Carnos sheaths his axe, sits back down, pulls out a healing potion and chugs that down completely. Then pulls out 2 flasks, unclips the lid and takes a sip from one and a sip from the other. Breathes heavily and takes a sip from one and a sip from the other and puts it back. Just a sip.
As he does.
Still on duty.
Ad hoc.
Yeah, I like this turn to Fiddlestib, and I don't know if he's like he just hit the wall.
Yeah, he's still sort of leaning against the wall, probably breathing a little heavy, still contemplating finding definitely got to fix that. That's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But also, you guys probably would have seen the radiant light from where you are, being up above. You would have seen the radiant light emanate from the center of the creature as it fell backwards. You may not have made out what was inside the cavity, but it was definitely the radiant light that was glowed really brightly and then died as the creature fell backwards.
We saw everyone dive into the water, yeah?
You see Mirabelle dive into the water. You can still see Skathis frantically searching.
But no, I'm not going to care about that. I'm just going to turn to Fiddlestib and going to go, right, so what I've been thinking is what we need to do is actually add a recoil shock, like a coil, to that gun of yours, so it can like take a bit of the blunt force.
Yes, or something like a tripod.
Yeah, that could also work. Like this cannon, look, it's got tripods. It like folds out magically as well that it walks. We could do that on yours if you want.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna reach in and pull out the water skin, my special water skin.
Yeah.
Take a sip and go.
You want some? Best you'll ever have.
Do you accept it, Ad hoc?
Yeah, I'm gonna trust him. I'm gonna take it and then
Take a
sniff
sip?
it and take a
You
sip.
sniff it, and the moment you sniff it, it's like, ooh, wine. And you take a sip, and it is good wine.
Yeah, cool.
So
Yeah,
you're
Grin's
talking
gonna crack
top-notch
across my face.
wine.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, it's
Okay.
good wine. Probably the best wine you've ever tasted.
Best wine you'll ever have.
Where the fuck did you get this? In here?
I have my ways.
I really
Just
like you.
don't tell.
Emilia, what are you doing at this point?
Emily is gonna look at Carlos and say, "Wow, you're not the loud-mouthed wimp that I was beginning to think you are. You're actually pretty strong. I'm impressed."
I do appreciate your kind words. I think I may have misjudged you. I thank you for the healing that you gave me. And Carlos reaches out his hand for the wrist-to-wrist handshake.
Does Emilia reciprocate?
Emily moves across the room and reciprocates because she was across the room.
So Emilia sort of strides forward and reciprocates and grips your forearm.
If you hadn't healed me, Miss Emilia, I might have been lying on that table right now, or at least the floor, bleeding out. So I do appreciate it. Thank you.
I would have given you more, but I saw you drink your healing potion, so you don't need it.
That is correct.
It is at this point that you are all startled by the portcullis as it refalls back into the room with a loud splash. Add a roll of wisdom save for me, please. You being probably the more skitterish of the group at the moment.
I've got an 11.
11. I think even with an 11, you probably would have jumped quite severely and probably let out a rather startled squeal. Yes, that is the next port of call. Is we will now take a short break. Now that combat is over, we will be right back in a few moments. So chat amongst yourselves for a short moment, where we take a short five minute break, and we'll be right back. Right, we're now back on the air, just so you guys know. How you going, chat? We are back. We're just waiting on Mirabelle to make a coffee before we get back into the show. So if you've got any questions for the cast or for myself, feel free to ask them now while we're waiting for the coffee to be made. But yes, that was an interesting fight nonetheless, and some really good damage from you guys. 3 natural 20s during that combat. We just had one of the chat, Stidley. I like the little guy with the oversized gun. That's just solid entertainment.
Yep. Yeah, solid entertainment, alright.
And Just Cody asked, who's everyone's favourite adventurer? So obviously out of this campaign, so far standout characters for me is well, it's all of you really. I mean, everyone's character is pretty cool, but Fibblestib and Emilia are shaping up to be very interesting characters indeed. I'm a little bit biased with Adok because from a character from a different campaign which I really enjoyed, which is half the reason he's in this campaign. So, but yes, everyone's character is doing very well. Stidley with the follow as well, thank you very much. And just before earlier, Orbasm with the 8-month resub, cheers Baz, appreciate it. So Stidley, Cody, yes, who is your favourite character? Since you asked the question, we'll throw that question right back at you. Adok.
I just thought I'd say as well, with that question to Cody's question as well, I feel like everyone's character I'm so interested in. I feel like it's so unique, you know, even just the minute details. Like I'm loving everyone so far.
Well, no one's really, we haven't really explored anyone's backstory or anything yet, because we're still early in the campaign. Obviously, things are still going to happen, which will obviously have some information come out a little bit later on about each character. But yeah, I think everyone, after playing with most of these guys in the homebrew campaign and playing with their character, using those characters and then coming to a different character, obviously Baz and I have played together a lot, so we've created different characters over the years, and I mean I know what he's like with his character creation and the thought that he puts into it. New players coming in is what I'm interested in. Nutty and Michelle that haven't really played D&D, and obviously Robert. Brand new people coming into the game and developing characters and seeing where they go with their characters and what sort of thought processes they'll put into their characters and what they've come up with. Piper, Evildoer, are you all streamers? No. Michelle, aka Zadriel, has started streaming. She doesn't do a lot of streaming, but she does occasionally. But no, just myself. But Cameron down here, I keep pointing up because you're up on the Skype. But Cameron down below me, Adok, is part of the Lost Chapters channel, which they do D&D as well. So he's DMing Storm King's Thunder at the moment. So if we can get a shout out for the Lost Chapters again, that'd be cool. Yeah, actually, it has been coming up nearly 4 years that campaign's been running, because we've been playing it sort of once a month, once a fortnight. It was really sort of stagnated there for a while when we were actually able to play, and because of COVID and shit as well. So
it started out monthly and now we do fortnightly. I think that's what dragged it a little longer, but fortnightly quickens it up, eh?
Definitely, for sure. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to run our campaigns here weekly, just to get progress going through. Who couldn't you hear, Piper? Below me. Oh, Adok. No, you were muted, so no one could hear you.
Did I say something?
I don't know. Apparently you said something before and no one could hear you.
Oh.
But no. So yes, Adok, aka Cameron, runs Storm King Thunder with Lost Chapters. There's been a shout out in the channel. Go check him out. Hit him up with a follow. Thursday nights, 6 o'clock Australian.
Yeah, so, well, actually, it's, we say 6, but it's more 6:30. That's roughly, yeah, it's
6:30-ish.
6:30,
7:30, 8, 8:30.
So if you start checking around 6, you should be good.
6:37 is a good time. No, I have to say, it's a big shout out to Evil and the gang, because mainly, a lot of the stuff I've been learning, I've been watching these guys for a long time and learning from them. Like, all these guys that we have here are great, and I'm really appreciative to actually be brought on board to play Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, well, see, our homebrew campaign's been running over a year as well, so...
We were so excited to have you in the campaign though, Cam, because Adult is fucking awesome.
Well, let's see if you don't kill him.
6:37 right on the dot, exactly.
I mean, that's possible. That's definitely possible considering what we've done in the other campaign so far.
Anything is possible in D&D, as we all know.
I could be the next Nutty. You never know.
You could. You could indeed. So with that, I suppose we've got about an hour left in the show, so we better keep on going. So we will drop back into character, and before we went to break, we had Skathis frantically searching through the murky water, trying to find the little baby that he saw in the center mass of this creature. Mirabelle has also dove into the murky water and is beneath the surface, has not resurfaced at this point. So Zadriel and Karnos is probably the closest. Emilia has come up and had a friendly handshake with Karnos at this point, and Fibblesib and Adok are still on the platform. You were all startled by the portcullis refalling back into the room. Adok shrieking in a probably a high-pitched, startled squeak as it hit the water right next to him. But with that, it's now resettled, and the eeriness of this place remains. The chant has stopped. All you now hear in this room is just the frantic splashing and moving around in the water, with Skathis trying to find whatever he's trying to find.
Now, I would have heard that and seen like everyone diving in the water.
You can still, yeah, you can all, from where you are, you can see Skathis frantically looking for something. You're not sure what.
So it's only Skathis and Mirabelle?
Yeah.
Zadriel's not in the water as well?
You can't see Mirabelle because she's under the water. Zadriel, what were you doing? Were you searching as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you frantically searching, or?
Yes.
So you've got two of them frantically they're looking for something, you're not sure what. And Mirabelle, you cannot see anymore.
Seeing that, I'm going to grab some, like, just little rocks and stuff, make them glow.
Yep.
As well, run over and throw them in wherever they're searching to light up that area.
It doesn't really help because the water is dirty and brown. The visibility is virtually zero in the water, regardless. Even with the light, it just doesn't really change the fact that this water is not clean.
How deep was it, roughly?
About 2.5 feet. Where you guys were, over where Mirabelle, where Skathis. Now Skathis, you're now wading in about chest-height water. So are you, Adriel. So it's probably about 4 feet-ish, maybe 4.5 feet. So Mirabelle, you are submerged in the water. You can hold your breath for about 3 minutes, so you're doing okay.
I was just going to ask if I could swim.
Can you swim?
That's a good question.
I'd say you'd know to swim. There's a lake near your home, so I'd say you would know. I wouldn't let you drown on your first adventure.
Well, I would be underwater walking through this anyway, probably. Just cause it's that deep.
It's deep enough to be just over your head. So with the amount of gear you're on, you probably weighted down enough that probably not swimming per se, but you're definitely underwater.
You would probably need to come up for air at some point soon.
So 3 minutes. So you definitely are going to have to come up at some point. 3 minutes is a long time to be able to hold your breath. There's one thing about D&D 5e with the holding the breath thing. It's kind of weird how they do it. 1 minute plus your con is con modifier. That's a long time, especially if you've got a +4 or +5 on your con. So
Yeah, it's actually more realistic if you have it, Sean. It's something I was watching on a YouTube vid. So
yeah,
if you wanted to,
I was going to look at just go 1 minute for that.
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, I was going to look at the average person, average blow, Joe Blow, probably maybe a minute if that. So if we round it off at a minute, I think it's a good way to do it. So yeah, after a minute you come to the surface, spluttering and coughing because the water's not nice. It is very dank and disgusting, very dirty, very smelly, and you could not find anything.
No, so I'll go a bit closer to where it's a little bit shallower and sit on a step and think, how am I going to get this crap off? Ugh, I stink.
So Scathus and Zadriel, you've probably been searching for a good solid minute or two, and you cannot find this child that you thought.
Skate,
Where you go?
Skate, stop moving. Let's see if there are bubbles in the water. If it is still bubbling. Are there bubbles in the water?
Roll perception. So do you all stop moving? Allow the water to settle?
It's an 11.
You stop, wait for the water to settle a little bit, and no bubbles.
Oh, the DM will never forgive me if I let a baby die.
So with the frustration of being able to find the baby, slam the water with your fist.
Okay. Open palms or just with the fists?
Just the fist.
Yeah, so you watch, and you can see that Scathus is frustrated that he couldn't find whatever he was. I mean, you assume he's looking for the same thing, and just slams the water with his fist, splashing dirty water everywhere. Emilia, did you want to say something?
Yeah, Emily is going to move back across to the step where she was before.
Okay. Yep.
Basically, she doesn't know what they're looking for, doesn't really care, to be honest.
Fair enough.
She's gonna basically move across that step where she was.
No problem. Duly noted. And Adok.
There's not a sort of roll I can do to work out what that creature was or anything, yeah?
You could roll intelligence. Anyone who wants to do the same thing could, if you wanted to determine whether you know what the creature was. You can roll intelligence or history, whichever you.
Okay.
So we'll go around here. So Adok, for your roll.
Me again.
Nat 20. Natural 20. So with your natural 20, you rack your brains trying to figure out what the hell that thing was. And then a memory comes to you with the teachings from your benefactor. You heard of creatures that could be formed from refuse and vines and natural plant matter and all manner of things. A form of necromancy, and you know it is called people have called it a shambling mound or a horrifying mound of that kind of description. It's generally made from natural material. This one seemed to have bones and stuff in it. You set up.
Is there a way from where I am to be able to get down from the platform and go to Scathus, seeing how he's like smashed on the water?
You could definitely get across there. Like, he's probably at the edge of the dais, so you'd have to go across to like 2 feet of water to the dais, and then you could attempt to jump across.
Yeah, I don't want to touch that water. I'm going to try and jump.
Try and jump. So make an athletics check.
18.
18. You can jump 15 feet. You can get across there quite easily. You sort of look at it, you think, I ain't touching that. And you take a running jump, and you land it pretty good. It's not 3-point landing type stuff, but you land on the dais, stand up, and sort of shoot over to the edge of the water where Scathus is at this point.
Yeah, I'm just going to say something to Scathus, but in this time, before I do that, if anyone else wants to do something.
So who else was rolling to see if they recognise this creature? Anos, Fibble. No one else?
Mirabelle
I've
wouldn't
got
have a
an
clue
idea.
anyway.
It was, yeah, Mirabelle, you're just fascinated that it was a thing. This was just a big plant thing. It was like, whoa, that was kind of cool. Kind of scary, but kind of cool. You're a little bit excited, a little bit scared, but it's that whole adrenaline thing for you. It's, even though it's kind of scary, really exhilarating at the same time. Carnos, your roll.
Carnos rolled a 7. He thought it was a blight of some description.
Yeah, you've heard of blights and things. You saw the plant matter, so yeah, you probably assume maybe a blight, or you're not entirely sure. Fibblestep.
I got an 18.
18?
Yeah.
So, again, with your research and your magical tinkering, and you probably come across mentions of mounds in your bookwork. And while you're not 100% sure that that was exactly it, it definitely had similar traits. It was made up of plant matter, natural stuff, but it was definitely magical in nature.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't think there was a baby.
Back to Elkin Scathus.
Right, well, Scathus is still slamming on the water. I'm just gonna slowly reach out my hand and touch him if I can.
Yep.
And see if he turns around.
You turn around with, you feel a hand, let's say probably on your back, probably lower back because he is quite short.
I turn around really quickly and glance.
Look, I just thought you should know that what that creature was is, well, it's probably, I mean, I'm just guessing here, but, you know, like, it's probably made out of necromancy and sort of things. Like, it's not really living, so it could be made of different parts and different souls and stuff. Like, I don't know, like, I'm just saying, whatever you saw, it's not real, it's evil, it's done. Okay, calm down.
Bailey was in there.
Really?
I saw it.
Okay, well, you know, maybe it was made out of a baby's stuff. Either way,
baby's stuff.
Either way, it's dead. So, you know, like, good job, by the way. I'm gonna back away now. Yeah.
I don't believe Carlos noticed the baby in there, so he's surprised at that statement.
Oh no, you were right there when it died, so you would have seen it too.
I did see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the people that would have seen it most clearly would have been Scathus, Zadriel, Carnos, and Mirabelle. Emilia probably wasn't really taking much notice, and Adok and Bibblestib would have seen the glow, but probably you would not have actually seen what everyone else saw from it.
Okay. If that's the case, then Carlos would have been saying, did you find it? Is it in there? Is it alive?
And you could probably tell with Scathus's frustration when he comes up and just starts pounding on the water with his fist that he hasn't found anything. And Zadriel also said that she also just wasn't finding.
Yeah, just shake my head and no.
Damn. All right.
At this point, I would like everyone to make a perception roll. Another natural 20, I'm assuming.
Same for Carlos.
Oh, double natural 20s on a perception. Holy crap. Some natural 20s going out tonight, guys. Holy shit.
It just means next session we're all screwed.
So, Adok,
You're not
so
wrong.
natural 20 on your perception. So what's your total?
It's -1, so it's 19.
19. Zadriel.
11, I think. 13.
13. Mirabelle. 9. Carnos.
Nat 20.
20. So what's your total?
Just 20.
Just 20. Scathus.
I'm still stressed, frustrated. I can't find this damn baby.
Come with the damn roll, for Christ's sake.
9.
9. Fibblesip.
14.
14, and Emilia.
13.
13. So collectively, while you're all sort of dealing with your own stuff, you all start to hear and feel a low rumble. It starts very slight, and you see the ripples start to form on the water. It starts to slowly get louder. Then you feel it. The floor beneath you starts to move slightly, starts to vibrate. Sand and bits and pieces start to fall from the ceiling above you. It slowly and progressively starts to get louder and more violent. The floor starts to shake, almost like an earthquake. But just, again, starting very, very slightly, getting slowly louder and slowly more violent. What are you guys doing?
With that, I start move towards the whatever the bloody thing's called.
The doorway.
The doorway, and picks up Mirabelle on the way.
Okay. Haddock.
Yeah, same thing. I'll probably call out to Fiddlestip and say, "Run now!" and like head towards the same place Skarnos is heading toward.
I'd be saying, Zadriel, we gotta go.
Mirabelle, do you allow Skathis to pick you up? Muted.
I was about to cast Expeditious Retreat on myself.
Which does, well, you can still do it, but do you allow Skathis to pick you up?
I suppose.
You don't have to. I'm just saying, do you or don't you?
It's gonna save me a spell slot, so go for it.
So, Skathis, you scoop up Mirabelle as you turn and head towards the door. Fibblestib calls out to Zadriel, saying the same thing, time to go. Haddock as well. Emilia, what do you do at this point?
She's gonna look at the ceilings, look at the stuff falling from the ceiling and think, I was gonna say, looks like the house is collapsing, so she's gonna stand up and walk to the door.
And Karnos.
Move quickly to the door.
So he's also heading towards the door.
Karnos looks around to see the smaller people. Obviously, Mirabelle gets picked up, but Fibblestib and Haddock, you guys are going to be struggling in the water. How about you? Do you both want to jump up on me pack? Just grab on and I'll sort of hoist you up and we'll run with you out.
So basically he's asking Haddock and Fibblestib whether you want to ride.
Haddock, take the taxi.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at Fiddlestib. And I'm gonna go, Zadriel, catch! And I'm gonna like jump at her.
I promise I won't kill you. Oh, never mind.
So you jump into Zadriel's arms. Do you catch him, Zadriel?
Yes.
I'll take Limpy's.
You take Limpy's ride. So, Karnos, you grab Fibblestib. We won't strength checks. You'll both be strong enough to carry these guys. They don't weigh a lot. What do you do with your cannon?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I also grab his cannon?
No, I just go like, fuck the cannon, let's go.
Emilia.
Emilia's going to move to the door.
Yep.
And basically push people out, but not leave the room.
Okay.
Until everyone's gone.
Until everyone's gone. So can we get a quick order heading out the door? We have Skathis with Mirabelle, we have Zadriel with Haddock, and Karnos with Fibblestib. Who's first? I'd say Skathis probably would have been the first. He was first to react. So Skathis, Zadriel, Karnos, you're probably all moving pretty quickly together. And then Emilia following up the rear after everyone else has left the room.
Emilia's going to stay in the room.
You're not going to leave? You're just going to let them run out and leave you there?
No, we're going to wait till they leave the room.
Yeah. So they're all moving out. That's what I'm saying. They've all left the room now. You'll be following up the rear.
Okay, well, from that room, I'm going to move back to the altar.
Yes.
And I'm going to use shape water.
Yes.
And I'm going to shape the blood of Skathis and Scathus and Karnos.
Yes.
And I'm going to take it in my hand, shape it into my hand.
Yep.
And I'm going to do my ritual with their blood.
Noted.
On my ritual as rubbed on my seal,
yep.
on my ropes. And then I'm going to drink the remainder of the blood.
No problem. Duly noted. And then leave. So you guys, none of you would have seen this as you left the room. Emilia sort of hung back and waited. Does anyone sort of, as you get up to the next room, does anyone turn to make sure that everyone's coming out? Just so we know. Zadriel, you definitely turn to make sure everyone's following. You would have been in the middle there with Karnos. You sort of turn, and you do see eventually, after it doesn't take long, probably a minute maybe at the outside, you do see Emilia finally leave the room and start following you guys. Adok.
I was just going to say, in a state of panic, if I could, I would have casted guidance on Zadriel.
Okay, yeah, that's good, that's fine, you can do that. So, as the rumbling grows louder and more violent, you reach the next room, heading back the way you came. You can start now seeing the cracks appearing in the walls and in the ceiling above you. More debris is falling as you start retreating back towards the stairwell. You start ascending the stairwell. Adok, if you recall, you were told about the trapdoor that led back into the house. Do you inform Zadriel of the trapdoor?
Yes, I do. As Zadriel's carrying on, I'll be like, up there, quickly, a trapdoor goes out to the... Just open it, get out there, tell everyone.
I shout to everyone, wait, we gotta take the trapdoor.
It would be quite visible as you ascend the stairs, as you head up. The second landing, you notice there is an open trapdoor. Those of you that were searching the house initially, the trapdoor leads into the den, which is the one with the stuffed wolves in it. So you all scramble up through the trapdoor into the den. You do that. You all manage to get up there. It doesn't take too much. A little bit of the three larger characters would probably have to shove the smaller ones through the trapdoor before climbing through themselves. You're now back in the house itself, in the den, which you know is on the first floor. You then, the whole house is shaking. In the den, the walls are falling over, books are falling off the shelves, the walls are splitting and splintering, there's dust falling from the ceiling. What are you doing? Adok.
Is there anything that looks like value?
Not really. The house is just, it's been abandoned for a long time. There's not really much left.
Never mind.
While still carrying Mirabelle, I'm heading towards the exit.
No problem. So you just head straight for the door. Adriel.
I am holding my shield like an umbrella over
no problem.
both of us.
Karnos, you doing the same thing?
No, as soon as we exit the trapdoor, Karnos would say to Fiddlestick, it's clear for you to run now. I don't think I need to carry you, but let's go for the door, right?
Mirabelle.
I'm just looking at Scathus like, why are you still carrying me? You can put me down, I can run. That's fine.
Do you put it down?
See, no, I'm still going.
He doesn't let you down, he just goes. Scathus, you're the first to burst through the den door into the main landing or main foyer of the house. You turn, knowing where the exit is, you head directly for the exit. You burst through the closed door. Make a strength check for me, as the front door of the house is closed. It does open outwards, but I'm assuming at the speed that you're currently going, you don't stop to open it, you just decide to go straight through it. So make a strength. That's up to you, Adok, if you want to still be or up to you and Zadriel to do.
Well, this is gonna hurt lots.
What is your strength check? A 5.
5.
You lean your shoulder forward and hit the door. You do manage to get through it. The door is not a thick, sturdy. It's a fairly sturdy door, but it was locked the last time you checked it. But it seems to have been unlocked in somehow. You hit the door with your shoulder. It does fling open. You stumble and fall. You do hurt your shoulder. You take 2 points of bludgeoning damage as you go through the door. Mirabelle on one arm. You roll down the front steps of the house out into the street. You pick yourself up and then straight out into the street. It's still raining outside. It is still very, very misty. But you indeed are now out of the house. Who was following up next?
Probably us.
So Zadriel and Fibblesib, you... No, not Fibblesib. The other short person. Haddock. Yes. Are you still being carried by Zadriel at this point?
Yeah, I just thought I'd like to mention, if I can, with whatever's going on, I'd like to be continuously casting guidance on Zadriel every minute.
No problem at all. So, Zadriel, you then follow Skathis as you head towards the front door. The door is now open. You are easily able to make it outside of the house into the street, where Skathis and Mirabelle are now both standing. I would assume Skathis probably put it down at this point, just looking back at the house, waiting for everyone else to come out. Karnos, you're up. You and Fibblesib and Emilia. So who is next after Zadriel heading towards the door?
Yeah, Karnos would sort of do what Emilia did in the cave way and just make sure others are getting out before he does.
It takes a little bit for Emilia to reach the trapdoor because she was hanging back a little bit. So you guys reach the trapdoor and you sort of look back after putting Fibblesib down and notice that she hasn't come to the trapdoor yet. Sort of peer down, and after a minute or so, she appears underneath and starts climbing up. You then head for the door.
Yeah, as soon as she's clear, he says, "Come on, what's taking you so long? Do you need a hand?" And then out the door.
Emilia says, "Sorry, I had to pee," and
You seem to have a nervous bladder, Emilia.
takes a hand and runs to the door.
Right, so you all head for the front door and you all exit the house as the loudness of the rumbling and the violence of the shaking of the house grows stronger still. Who was the last person out of the house? Would that be Emilia or Karnos?
I would think Karnos would, after waiting for Emilia, would make sure she gets out the door.
Okay, so Karnos, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as you exit the house, please.
Oops, unmute myself. 22.
22. Just as you reach the threshold of the house, the ceiling above you collapses, and you just throw yourself forward. You dive, and into a very skilled dive roll at that, and landing not on your feet but back on your hands and knees. You sort of spin and turn and look back as all of you watch Durst Manor collapse in on itself. The top story starts imploding in from the top, and just loud splintering of wood, the shattering of glass, the screeching of metal as the entire house just falls in on itself. And then after about 5 or so minutes, falls beneath the earth into catacombs below. Dust and debris spread out from the house itself as it collapses. The misty rain that is falling manages to keep a lot of the dust and debris down, but you still do get the odd bits and pieces sort of fall out towards where you guys are currently standing. You are now standing in the light drizzle, a very overcast afternoon. There are no other people around that you can see. Even with a collapsing house, which was very, very loud, doesn't appear to have that anyone has come out to have a look or see what's going on. We're now standing in the deserted street of the small village of Barovia.
Going to put Edok down and dust off my armor and say to Mirabelle, well, you are now an adventurer, I think.
Oh, but I stink and I'm wet and oh.
With
I
that,
shouldn't have noted that.
Adok's gonna say, "Welcome to Barovia!" Woo!
Zadriel says adventurer, but everyone look at each other and say hello to the heroes amongst you. Did we not do what we said we came to do? We checked out the children, made sure they were safe, found out they were dead, and we found the baby and we defeated a monster at the end of this adventure. Heroes, I would say.
Adok.
After that, I'm gonna turn around and go, "Oh, Karnos, look at that. You notice anyone else actually from here who actually gives a fuck? Just take a moment. Look around. There's no one."
And with
You
that, you
almost
indeed
died.
you all do look around, and there is nobody out in the street, which you would probably expect in a village. If a house just collapsed, which was not quiet, it was very loud and very disruptive, you would expect that people would be out in the street wondering what had happened, be concerned about its inhabitants maybe. But there is no one anywhere. Mirabelle.
How close is the nearest house?
Next door.
Next door. I'm just gonna run over next door and knock on the door.
Before you even get to the house, you can see that it's boarded up and abandoned. Like the doors got boards nailed across the front, the windows are all boarded up, and as you look down the street, most of the houses are the same. Adok.
I turn.
Just 1 second. Mirabelle, complete your thoughts, please.
I was just going to turn around and say, did anybody else notice this when we came in?
Actually, I don't think anyone even bothered to look. Adok.
With that, Adok's gonna step away and face the rest of everyone and go, "Right, now, you all understand, Karnos, you're not a fucking hero. None of yous are. Get this through your thick fucking heads. Use a trap it there. Use the traps, alright? This land is gonna fucking kill you all. You believe me now or what?"
Emilia.
Emily is just sort of ignoring the fact she's going to go shape water again and basically take all the liquid that she's now been covered in off her body and dump it over onto the garden next to her.
Well, you're standing out in the rain, so it probably wouldn't really matter too much. It is raining.
Yep. Get rid of the smelly water.
Yeah, so you get rid of the smelly water on yourself without too many hassles, and just dump it on the nearest garden without any problems at all. But you are all standing in a light drizzle out in the street. So you are all currently getting wet. Mirabelle, you're probably starting to smell a bit nicer because the water will be washing off the crap.
Yeah. I was just about to look around and say, does anybody have a water skin or something I can wash myself with?
You're having a natural shower right now. Karnos.
Carlos moves under the nearest eave of a building where the rain is driving sort of away from, like an animal would do if it was trying to get out and shelter. And he will say, well, that was exciting. I'm just going to have a quick wee drink. And he undoes his too fast, takes a sip, and sticks him back in his pocket and says, right, now on to the next part of, are you all happy? Do you want to rest or anything? Or shall we carry on looking for what we are supposed to be looking for? Finding the actual means of darkness in this place.
Or the way out, that would be good.
I mean, the way out will happen after you've got to finish one thing before you can do the next. It's no use looking for a way out when we haven't actually done our job. It's like, hey boss, I'm going to go to work today. Oh, but when's finishing time, even though I haven't started?
Carlos, we did our job. The children are dead. The baby is dead. We are alive. Good day. Let's go home. Huh?
I don't know if you remember, but we had a quest before the children got the children were kind of like oh hello, we need help, and we went, hey, we're heroes, let's us help you, and then they sort of pulled us away from what our initial adventure was going to be. I don't know. Are you taking drugs?
Mirabelle, got something to say?
I was just going to say, perhaps we should see if we can have a look around for that windmill thing that we kept seeing.
Gathus. Muted.
Gathus chimes in. There's more to be done here.
Say? Worries? Adok.
With hearing that, hearing being told that what you were all originally
because you
sent
don't
here
know
for.
about that, yeah.
Yeah. Can I say? I just want to say. What do you mean? What do you mean? What you were all originally sent here for?
Well, you see, I myself have been a hero for some time now, Adok. I received a letter, and I sort of give him the gist of what the letter was about and who we sort of what we're here for.
Yeah, you guys are having a conversation. Just have your conversation. You don't have to raise your hand for that one.
It's just a question to you. That's all.
Yep, that's fine.
With the letter, can I see if I recognise what this letter's about?
Certainly can. I'm just going to find the letter. I knew this would come up, so.
Here, Adok, I'll show you the letter. It's from the Burgermeister. That was his name, eh?
Yes, it was.
And it's his lady friend had some issues, and they're talking about like a undead, a vampire of some description. Here, you read it. Can you read?
Have you not seen what I can cast? You honestly think you questioning whether or not I can read? I should be questioning whether or not you can read. Like, you can hardly walk.
I mean, I got a minor limp. That's a bit rough, mate.
It's not wrong to not be able to read common. You might be able to read something else instead.
Fibbleston makes a valid point, Adok. It's written in common. Do you speak common?
Mate, I can speak common.
Sorry, I meant read. Read common.
Yeah, but I can speak common.
That's wonderful, but it doesn't mean you can read it, right?
I'm a goblin who can speak common, craft magical things, and cast spells. You're really questioning whether or not I can read common.
I don't want to question your intelligence at all. I'm not accusing you of anything. I just have known people to be able to cast spells and build things who haven't been able to read at all. It's not uncommon, if you know what I mean.
I'm just going to look at Fiddlestip at this point, just give him like the weirdest look he's ever seen. As if I'm questioning Karnos's intelligence.
Do you hand over the letter to Adok, Karnos's?
Yeah.
So, Adok, he hands you over the letter that he received, which reads thusly. Hail thee of might and valour. I, the Burgermeister of Barovia, send you honour with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Kulyana, has been these past nights bitten by a vampire. For over 100 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. Now my dear Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer, so I say to you, give us up for dead and encircle this land with symbols of good. Let holy men call upon the power that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. Leave our sorrows to our graves and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward after we have all departed for a better life. And it is signed Kulyan Indrovich. Yes.
Can I see if I recognise what this letter's about and what the truth of this letter is?
You can roll a...
I'm not sure if I remember. I'm not sure if it's cloudy or not.
Roll intelligence.
21.
21. It's hazy.
Yep.
But you seem to... You remember the name Irina is familiar to you. The name Kuljan Indrovich is definitely familiar. You swear that you know who this Burgermeister is. You're not 100% sure whether you've met him, but you've definitely heard the name. The one thing that does strike you is this letter does not have a wax seal on it. Which is common practice from your time here. Most literature or most correspondence, anyone is normally, especially for someone like a Burgermeister or someone that would have a wax seal. There is no wax seal on it. But it is written in a very fine hand.
Looking over it, I'm going to turn to Karnos and go, this, I hate to tell you, but it's missing something. Missing a seal. I hate to tell you, but everything formal from here has a seal. So, I don't want to say that somebody else may have written this, but there's a good chance. I'm not quite sure. But this may be legit, actually. Who are you? Oh, actually.
You're confusing me a little bit. You're saying you don't think it's legit, it doesn't have a seal. And then you say, maybe it's legit, who are we? Okay.
Use smaller words, Adok. Use smaller words.
Why do you say it may be real but may not be real?
Well, I don't know. My head feels a bit funny, but reading this, what I know is most official documents have a seal, or like a wax seal. This one doesn't. You see? Does anyone else have this letter?
So at that point, who was the one that took the letter from the body that you guys found?
I think I might have grabbed that. I grabbed all paperwork.
Okay, so whoever grabbed that letter, or whoever has that letter, at this point, whoever had that, well, you would all remember the letter another letter you found had a wax seal on it with the letter B stamped on it.
Which was from...
which was very similar to the letter you carried.
The penmanship is the same?
The penmanship looks very, very similar. None of you are experts in handwriting, so it does look very much the same. But the one that you currently have has a wax seal on it, which is in the shape of a B, like a very fancy B. Adok.
I just want to say I do have expertise in forgery kits.
Okay.
So,
well, you haven't seen this other letter yet, so you've got the current one.
Yeah, just thought I'll let you know. Yeah.
But yes, so Phyllis, if you were at the moment talking about seals, you'd remember. Hang on a minute, that other letter we found, which was very similar in the description, like in what it said. It was just it said the Burgomaster's name at the top was the only difference.
I'm going to rummage through my pack and find that piece of paper.
So you do so. You produce the second letter. Do you read it out loud, or do you just then compare?
Well, I'll compare like the wordage type deal. Like,
okay,
is
so
the wording the same?
You compare the two letters side by side. The writing does look very, very similar, and looks pretty good to you. Differences is in the second letter, the one that you have, the one with the wax seal. Instead of How the of Might and Valor, and then straight into My Adopted Daughter, there is a line that is different from the other letter. It actually states, I, the Burgomaster of Barovia, send you honor with despair. And then it is actually, the other difference is at the bottom where it says Kuljan Indrovich, it has Burgomaster underneath the name, whereas the other letter does not. Very subtle differences, but easily noticeable.
So I'm gonna show them to Karnas and say,
I think you got duped.
Carlos inspects the 2 letters.
And you also notice the differences. Again, very subtle. Handwriting looks the same.
Carlos, I'm just going to talk straight to Fibblestim and Dad. Actually, I'm going to talk to everyone on the team and say, well, it seems here that there are 2 letters of a similar nature. And what I take away from this is this person is desperate and really needs help, and he has been making copies of said letter and trying to get as much help as he can. Therefore, we need to be the heroes we have been asked to be and come and help. If this was your daughter or your sister or your mother who was turned, would you not want to help? I can't understand what the squabble is about. If you don't want to be here to help, then go and find a way out. I'm going. And he throws the letters down and just trudges off up the road in the way they were headed originally.
Not a problem.
I think he's going to get us killed.
Adok.
I was just to say, just for flavour, I'm just going to be staring at Karnos, my mouth wide open, just staring at him in shock.
And with that, Karnos throws the letters down in the mud and starts heading off towards the centre of town. Amelia.
I say, sounds like he's delusional. And then,
You just follow him?
yup.
I don't think he's delusional. I think he just craves heroism.
Mirabelle.
Did he just have a tantrum? I've seen the children of the
Yes.
village have a tantrum like that before.
Yes, he did.
Right, guys, what are you doing? Karnos and now Emilia are now have headed off towards town.
I'm following.
You going to follow? Adok.
I just want to quickly say to the rest of the group, before they head off, I'm gonna be like, how much do you all care about Karnos?
Care?
Yeah,
Well-
because look, I'm just gonna be honest. There's a good chance he's gonna end up dead if we don't follow him.
Well, look, this is how. The only person I truly care about is Adriel. Good friend. Been good friend for a long time. Rest of you, I care about you, but not so much. So I care that you'll stay alive. That's it.
This is like herding, how you say, cats. It's like herding cats. I do not want to babysit all of this.
What are we
Well-
doing, guys?
Well, we have a choice. Look, I'm just gonna let you know. I'm just gonna let you guys know now. I mean, you all don't know a lot about me, but I've been here for quite a bit of time, and what I can tell you is that bloke right there, and I'm gonna point down towards Karnos as he's walking off. If y'all don't follow him, if y'all don't stick together, he's gonna end up dead. Mark my words.
Do you want to miss seeing him do something very stupid? Oh, come on. It would be good to see.
Look, I'm just gonna stick with the group. I'm just saying, if everybody else wants to follow him, I'm with you guys. But it's up to. We could leave him now, or we could all go together.
I think as a team we are stronger. We're gonna try to get out of here. Do it together.
But
Karnos.
if he dies, he dies.
Oh,
Karnos.
he's the sexiest, racist pig. I do. Yeah, we go with him. We go with him so I can see him die.
Yeah.
Who's picking up the letters which Karnos threw in the dirt in the road?
I'll pick them up, fold them, roll them up again, and stick them back in my pack. Actually, I think I got the parcel, the satchel that's got all the paperwork in it
Yes,
with
you
the
do.
will and all that.
Yes, you gonna put it
So
in
I'll
there?
stick it back in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have both versions of the letter.
At the same time, I think I got the one from. I can't remember his bloody name.
Strahd letter.
The Strahd letter. Can I compare the writing in between those two quickly?
Can. The writing is, it does look different.
Okay, so it's not...
than the both of the letters from Burgomaster. Again, still in fine handwriting. Yeah, it's still a very fine handwriting, but it definitely has, like, there are certain letters that have a different stroke than the previous two.
So the Burgomaster potentially wrote those two letters,
yes.
And someone else wrote this one.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
That is your determination based on what I think you would know. So with that, you then all proceed to follow Carnos and Emilia as they head towards the centre of town. So I would say they've gotten probably a good 30-40 feet in front of you, so you'd have to sort of quicken your pace to catch up with them. Which is not hard to do. But bring this map up for me so I can see where you guys are. So you now move following the street, which is about the only way you can go. You follow the street to a crossroads. As Carnos and Emily, you'd get to the crossroads probably just before the rest of the group caught up with you. And you look to your left and right. To the left, looks like it's a road leaving Barovia. Again, almost every house you pass is boarded up and black. There's no lights, no people in the streets. You look to your right and you do see a wisp of smoke coming from a large building, probably 150 feet down this road. See a couple of other small wisps of smoke further into the village itself, but that's the one that's probably closest. Mirabelle.
Is this like smoke coming from a chimney?
Yes, it is.
Like there's somebody outside.
Well, you can see the tops of the buildings, and you can see the different chimneys, and there's one that has quite a fair bit of smoke coming from it. Others probably not so much.
Should we go and check that out? There might be somewhere we can get out of this rain in there.
Fire means people.
Carlos hasn't said anything. He's actually walking towards that smoke.
So as you approach, everyone's going to follow Carnos as he turns and starts just heading in that general direction.
Yeah, I'd follow the crowd.
So as you all approach, keep it winding down the street. Again, the one thing you all notice is how many buildings are abandoned and closed. There's generally no sounds other than the rain falling. That thick sort of airy fog still hangs in the air around all sides of the village. The sky, even though it's looking, even Zadriel checking your shield, you know it's not nighttime, but it seems just dark and very, very overcast, very grey. Just really depressing. This whole place is just dark. It just feels horrible to be here. It's a horrible feeling. You walk for a few more minutes, and then you come to another, not really a crossroads. Almost looks like it could be like a bit of a town square. The road opens out, and as you turn and look, you do see a large building with a sign hanging above the main door. There's a few lights in the main windows, and the sign reads the blood of the vine, or blood on the vine, should I say. As you get closer and you look up the sign, you can see that the F has actually been crossed over turned into an inn. So it reads blood on the vine, but the original wording is blood of the vine. There is smoke coming from the chimney, and there is light coming from the interior.
Well, here we go.
Does it look to Carnos like it's some sort of bar?
It definitely looks like an inn. It's about the same sort of shape as most inn. It looks like maybe a single-story structure, but big enough that it would possibly be an inn or an ale house or something similar.
So Carlos puts his arms towards it, not worrying about anyone else behind him, and says, "Ah, old friend, I have missed you." And he heads straight under the doorway.
Hey, we found out what Karnos' god is.
So do you enter the inn?
Following.
Everyone follows? Adok.
Sorry, does this ring a bell to Adok at all?
It does. You definitely get the impression that you've been here before.
Okay, right. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm just going to take a second.
The sign is what triggers it. You look at the sign and you've seen that before. And again, it's just right on the, like, you can see it in your mind's eye, but it's just really hazy. Everything's still just really hazy across the board. Really struggling to recall, okay, when was I here? Did I talk to anyone? It's weird. It's just, again, it's just, you know you've been here, it's just you're not sure when, how, or why. It's that real haziness. So with that, you all follow Karnos as you enter this building. You can tell entering it that it probably used to be once a very fine tavern. Over the years, it's been neglected somewhat. Blazing fire in the hearth gives a scant warmth with a few people huddled within. There is a barkeep. Looks human. There is 3 women sitting together at another table, and then at another table is a youngish man, shoulder length, sort of sandy blonde hair. He's sitting by himself. That's pretty much it. There's not very many people.
Carlos goes up to the bar and he's surprise, and he says,
surprise,
excuse me,
indeed.
Excuse me, fine sir. I'll have 6 bottles of your finest, 2 wine, 2 mead, and 2 ale.
You walk up to the bar and you get to the bar and there's a pudgy little man. He's just standing there, tending the bar. He's cleaning glasses one after another. You notice as he sort of gets to the end, the second or third glass, puts them down and goes back to the first glass and keeps cleaning. He sort of looks at you and sort of turns and says to you, we serve wine. This is all.
Only wine? That's even better. 6 bottles of your finest wine.
We serve by the pitcher.
Is a pitcher bigger than a bottle or smaller than a bottle?
And he practically ignores the question and just reaches around and grabs 4 pitchers of wine and puts it on the bar, and says, 4 silver.
Carlos hands over 4 silver. He takes 2 bottles from his pack at the same time. Actually, sorry, he hands over the 4 silver. He grabs the 6 bottles, sort of jugs, 4 jugs in his hand, and he takes them over to the table with the 3 ladies, where he proceeds to pull out bottles from his pack, using 2 of the pitchers to fill the bottles in his pack and recork them, fill his canisters from his side and recork them, and then he starts talking to the three ladies at the table.
Okay.
And we can visit that later if you like.
Before we go to that, is anything else? Does anyone else want to say anything?
I'll be right back.
To the barkeep, as you also all filter in behind Carnos as he orders drinks, and then moves off towards the table with three women. Durst.
I'll go up to the barkeep and go, barkeep, I would like some food.
No food.
No food? Oh,
Wine.
okay, well, picture of wine. And is there a blacksmith in town?
No blacksmith. Just wine.
Okay, just wine. Okay, one wine.
So the picture of wine?
Yeah.
Which is 1 silver. 1 silver. What is your wine?
I hand him 2 and say, so I don't have to pay when I come back for the other.
Bit of grunts and then turns to Jadriel.
Oh, how much is water for a pitcher?
Get water from outside.
Forget to give me 2 pitchers of wine.
2 silver.
Right.
The wine. Doesn't smile. Doesn't really look doesn't look at you like he's definitely got no customer service skills at all. Anyone else? Emilia.
Upon hearing him say water's free outside, Emily goes back outside.
Okay. Emilia, you retreat back outside, and Adok, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just sent you a message, but I said if there's a table separate to most people in the tavern, Adok would go and sit down at that
there's
table.
Plenty of free tables there. There's probably 4 or 5 tables. The one thing you do notice, Adok, is the young gentleman sitting by himself. You recognise him.
All right.
Recognise him, and name pops into your head. Just it's like, well, Ismark. You know this man. You've talked to him. You've met him before. Travelled with him. But what's he doing back here, though?
I see him. Do I see him?
You see him? He's sitting at the table by himself. He's sort of glanced over at you guys. He looks at you, but doesn't look at you with eyes of recognition. Though. He glances up and gives you a bit of a nod, and then goes back to his drink.
I would immediately walk up to him and go, Ismark, is that you?
Do I know?
Yes, it's me. It's adult. Ismark is adult. You know me.
He looks at you very confused and says, sorry, do not. Oh, you.
No, you do. You know me.
No, sorry. I can buy you a drink, but I've never met you before.
No, you have. You remember. Fuck, I can't. Fuck, what's their names? No, you remember me. It was Rix. You remember?
Calm down. I'm sure you have me mistaken for someone else.
No, I don't. You're Ismark, and you've got a sister. Yeah. What's your sister's name? It's
Calm down. Yeah.
No. Because you relied on us to help you because there's a problem. Yeah. Everyone. This I know this bloke. This look over. Look, this is Ismark. I know him.
And you all hear Adop, and you see him standing, talking to this young gentleman. He's got again sort of sandy blonde, basically a mullet almost, but it's longish at the top. It's not like short on top, long at the bottom. He's got it's shoulder length sort of hair. He's wearing common clothes, but he looks kind of dejected, and he's really confused. He's got an extremely confused look on his face at the moment with Adok saying that he knows him, and you can see that he's not sure that he knows who Adok is. Mirabelle.
Seeing how Adok's getting so upset, I'd go over and put my hand on his arm and say, why don't you come over here and sit down and tell me all about it?
No. Look, I mean, it's fine. Like, I know this. I know him. All right. Look. If one thing's
I'm
certain,
sorry. I really don't know who you are. I've only ever been in my village. I've never been outside of Barovia.
at this point, I'd like to grab his collar if I can and pull him close to my face.
Yep. He'll sort of go.
Like, Ismark, look at me.
I am looking. I'm sorry. I really don't know who you are.
What's my name? What is my name?
Well, you said it was Adok, but I know not to know who you are. I'm sorry. Please, have a drink on me. Sit and talk, all of you, please. And he actually invites all of you to come and sit with him at this point.
With that, I release him and I just look, just dumbfounded.
Yeah. He says, please, just sit. We talk, we drink, yes. Eric, more wine, please. You see the barkeep sort of look up and nod, and eventually brings over 2 or 3 more pitchers of wine. So back to Kanos, who is doing his thing at the table of the 3 women. You need to bring up my picture of the women. I remember where they are. I can describe them to you.
Straight from Pornhub.
3 hags, 3 sea hags.
No, the Karnos, you would actually probably not so much recognize them, but you would recognize their attire as very similar to Giovanni. These women are 3 female humans. They're all sat at the table near the door where you've sort of wandered over to them. They don't really show much interest in you as you come over. One of them looks up at you and gives you a bit of a confused look, but almost a look of disdain as well, as if to say, "What the hell are you doing?"
Carlos, after using the pitchers, he's talking to them as he uses the pitchers to fill his bottles, and he says, "Well, I just wanted to say, ladies, one of these pitchers is for you." And he sits it in the middle of the table and he says, "You can have it. I don't care. I think it's a lovely afternoon. I was just hoping that you could give me some information on either the Burgomaster or his daughter, Irene." And he sort of sits down, tries to make himself comfortable.
The one that's sitting closest to you holds your hand up as basically say hush, sort of tries to sort of stop you from talking. She's probably in her 20s, mid to late 20s. Long, dark hair. They're all very, very attractive. She says, "This is our establishment. We don't need your wine. This is our wine. As for the Burgermeister, the house is on the outskirts of town. Now please, go sit somewhere else."
That is fine. I shall respect your wishes. You say you own this establishment, the 3 of you.
This is our bar, yes.
I apologise for interrupting. I was just after some information on people we were trying.
Information. We wish not to talk with you.
And you don't want the jug of wine?
No, you may have it.
It's lovely wine, by the way. Thank you very much for your hospitality.
Of course.
And he heads off over to where Skathis and Amelia are, or if they're together.
Amelia's outside.
Okay, he heads off to where Skathis would be.
It's up to you. It's up to you, Edok, whether that's what you want to do, dude. Completely up to you, my friend. With that, Carlos, as you sort of glance back as you go sit with the rest of the group of now, I'm assuming you guys have all decided to sit with Ismark as he's invited you to sit with him.
Carlos doesn't want to be with the group. He just thought Skathis was still separate from them. But if he's not,
are you still separate, or are you sitting with? Are any of you accepting the invitation? Mirabelle and Adok were the closest.
I'm still not fuming. Disappointed of not finding the child.
Yes. Do you accept Ismark's invitation to sit?
No.
No. So you just find a table by yourself?
Yep.
Karnos will
Yes.
join you.
Correct.
Fibblesib, Zadriel, do you accept the invitation that was extended?
If Adok sits down, I would as well.
Adok, do you sit at Ismark's table?
I will say no. At this point, with Mirabelle, I'm assuming trying to get me to calm down.
Yes.
Everyone would have noticed I would have been clutching my blowgun at this point, and it would be glowing red hot, all the sigils on it.
Mirabelle.
Seeing as I'm so close to him, I'd kind of look and go, "Oh, you are going to show me how to make one of those, weren't you?"
I'm still not saying anything, but I'm just starting to slowly step back from everyone.
At this point, Ismark says to you, please, do not do anything rash. Silly ladies sitting over there not take kindly to any kind of trouble. Please, sit. And you can see he has an air of urgency about him. He's looking directly at you, Adok, like he's looking you directly in the eye, and you can see that. And memory, if memory serves you, with the memory that sort of flooded back to you, that same urgency. Yes.
Can I ask you to make a persuasion check? This feels so wrong to ask the DM to make a persuasion check.
No, I can. Yeah, well, he could actually.
Because I'm unsure. I'm really unsure at this point.
Not a problem. Yeah. That using Ismark's stats, when I find him. That will be a 17.
Yeah. Okay.
So
cool.
he is reasonably convincing. Like
Yeah,
you can see
sure.
he's urging you all. Mirabelle, you can see it on his face as well. He's looking over at Zadriel and Fibblesib, basically saying, "Guys need to sit." Like you can see, he has that sense of kind of almost like a help me look on his face. Mirabelle.
Having a look and seeing how urgent it's looking, I'd kind of look at Adok and I'd look at him and say, "I'll come and sit with you," and go and take a seat.
So you sit with Ismark. Zadriel, what are you doing at this point?
I am seeing him with his fist balled, and I am praying to my guide for my calming aura of the sun, and I'm going to stand by Adok and put a hand on his other shoulder and say, "I brought a picture for you," and hope that I am calming him somewhat, and sit next to him. And that's
What
up
is
to you.
what is your calming aura? You're just trying to.
I'm just trying to
calm
persuade
down.
him to calm
Okay,
down.
so
So it's
make
pretty persuasion.
make a persuasion check. See if you can further calm the tense Adok.
That is
end very shortly too.
That's a 16.
16. I would say again, Adok, with Zadriel now coming over and putting a hand on your shoulder, talking about a pitcher of wine. It seems to calm you somewhat. You're not hungry, not completely calm, but it calms you to the point where if Mirabelle's going to sit with this guy, Zadriel seems like she might be wanting to join him as well. You know that he's not a bad dude. You're confused, you're upset that he doesn't recognize you, but you are probably more likely to sit at this point. Adok.
Yeah, if anyone has high enough perception, they would notice that the sigils on my blowgun have dissipated and have gone dormant. Yeah.
Well, quickly, Fibblesib, what are you doing at this point?
I would sit down with Dingo and go, "So why are you so scared?"
Please, everyone sit. And he's sort of leaning, because your guys' table probably 2 or 3 tables away from you guys. He looks over and tries to catch your attention, Carnos. He sort of waves to you and says, please join your friends. We must talk.
Carnos reluctantly joins the group, but because this person seems to be interested and Carnos thinks he needs help. So.
And with that, we will call tonight's session there, guys, and pick it up next Wednesday night. We are 10 minutes over. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us again this evening for our Curse of Strahd campaign, episode 5. XP. No, you don't get any XP. You don't deserve it. But what we'll do very briefly, because Baz has got to go. I know he's got an early start, and probably so does.
I'm actually good today.
Are you good today? Okay. Well, I know Robert probably got an early start, but someone's got an early start. We have a few workers here, but if we quickly go round and get some standout moments for tonight's session, we'll start with Cameron, aka Adok.
Look, to be honest, standout moment, if I'm being completely honest, it's been the entire session. Like, I don't mean that, no jokes aside. I think everyone is doing so well with the RP and everything. I'm honestly so grateful and loving every moment of it. So thank you to everyone, because honestly, you guys are blowing my mind with what's possible.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying your time with us, definitely. Obviously, I'm doing my job properly if that's the case. that's a good thing for me. Next on the list, Michelle, aka Zadriel.
The plot twist. Oh, I'm still an accent. The plot twist of Adok and his memory was good. I like that.
Awesome. So yeah, yes, obviously the first time you guys realised that he has definitely been here for some time. And now things have definitely taken a little bit of a twist with that. Nutty, aka Mirabelle.
I'm finding it hard to find one particular standout moment.
Well, just pick a few. Yeah.
But I like the way Arnoff, Zadriel, and Skathis all fucking picked up a little person and ran.
Well, at least they weren't tossing little people. I mean, dwarf tossing or halfling tossing.
Like, you can't toss a dwarf.
I mean, it's generally frowned upon, but yes, picking up a little people and scarpering as the house started to collapse around your ears.
Just impressed that I didn't get injured when friggin' Skathis.
Well, it was lucky. I made a dice roll to see if he landed on you, but no, you succeeded that one, so you're lucky. Trashman, aka Skathis. Muted, sir.
Disregard between Pibblestib and Adok with explaining how they can make the gun better.
Yes, a battle has just been won, and they're talking about tinkering, that was a bit of fun. Mr. Pecker, aka Pibblestib.
Same thing as what Trashman said, and also when Karnos did the hissy fit after he's been found out that he got screwed into doing it.
Robert, aka Emilia.
There's a couple of things. There's Mirabelle diving into the water, and then after being under the water for a minute saying, "Can I swim?"
Yes, that was definitely probably a question that should have been asked before. But nevertheless.
There's another one too that, oh jeez, I can't remember what it was now. Shit. And I've gone by.
Yeah, got to remember them. You got to take some notes on your favourite moments, so you remember these things at the end. But if you remember it, sing out. Drax, we'll definitely come back here. And Baz, aka Karnos.
For me, there's a couple of moments actually. Some of it's through the story, whether it's ad lib or whether it's something that's originally there. And one is the shelves of goods, the description of goods. was a good thing. I thought there was some out there descriptive stuff, and then the other one was that just having the baby in the shambling mound, I believe that creature was. That was something I wasn't expecting at all. So that was a good way to go.
The one thing I will say from a DM's perspective on this, even though it is a module, I am ad-libbing and improving a lot of things. So there will be things that, for those that do know the module, especially those that are viewing and have played this module or do know the module, there will be things that will stand out as not being either in the module or being slightly different. I am sort of mixing it up with, it's not homebrew, just changing things. I think that just make things a little bit more interesting, I think, from a descriptive standpoint and from a gameplay standpoint, and the baby in the mound was one of those things. That's not specifically in the Strahd module, but it is in a version of the Strahd module which I have got access to. So it's like almost like a homebrew version of it. So I'm sort of mixing it up between, which is kind of cool. So it's good that stuff's standing out for you guys too. So
I've never played the module, so to me it was all fresh anyway. But just it was a twist I didn't see coming. And then from a character's point of view, I thought Amelia carrying away from the blood too was something I didn't think about that, as a behind the scenes, knowing what she is, I didn't think that was actually good character role play. So,
and like I said, again from a DM's perspective, seeing the progress of these new characters from the start, now seeing some idiosyncrasies and some different things coming out with each character now playing into their character's role and doing specific things that are very character based is really starting to show as well. So Karnos being the eternal hero and just wanting to be that hero is starting to come across. Emilia with her religion, her religious stuff, and just her reactions to specific things. Zadriel with the calming aura, trying to use her palladic abilities to calm a situation. Mirabelle being sort of excited and sort of based almost like an adrenaline junkie, almost starting to come through a little bit. And obviously Fiblistev and Adok, the two tinkerers, sort of constantly talking about fixing stuff and all stuff starting to come through as well. And Skathis, Trashman, again, not speaking very much, but when you do very simple basic statements which get a point across, which I think your character is actually doing very, very well. So
I can't believe I said more than two.
I know, you said like 3 words in one sentence. It was great.
The splashing water too.
Again, that real physical reaction to something rather than saying, like, actually getting upset and screaming and making a statement or saying something like most other characters probably would have. I thought it was really. So for me, like, standout moments for me as a DM is just, again, all you guys' characters, just the fact that we're all starting to find your characters and really starting to play into their traits, which is starting to come across really well. And you made it out of the Death House, which is great. Slightly modified Death House compared to the module, but you did make it out. It is very cool to see.
Was it harder or easier?
The way I did it was probably a little easier towards the end, shall we say. Not too much, though. But Karnos did get very close to being squished. If it wasn't for the natural 20s and the fairy fire, I'd say Karnos probably would not have managed to get through that fight without becoming unconscious.
Oh, I had not action surge, one of my other abilities up my sleeve. So
I know the one, second wind.
Yeah, second wind, that's the one. I was about to use second wind if I hadn't got a heal. So
yeah, well, the funny thing is that mound does hit exceptionally hard.
Yeah, I was surprised. That's why I pulled my shield out.
Oh, the nat 20s in combat, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
like 3 nat 20s in a row during that combat. So that definitely helped you guys in that.
Fairy Fire really made the advantage on that too,
for sure.
because, having advantage. I've heard you guys. I come in on a conversation before you were talking about Fairy Fire being awesome.
It is such an amazing spell.
It is. Hit uses it under a different guise. However, don't use it very often in the higher levels now. But earlier on, we were trying to use it quite a bit.
Yes,
so
I used it on the Beholder, I think.
I tried but failed. Most of the times
failed,
I've used it, I've failed. But earlier, when it was at the lower levels, it was much more helpful.
It's probably the one thing I don't like about 5th edition's DCs. They seem to be just a little bit low.
Yeah, so that's one thing you will notice is DCs I pretty much ignore most of 5e's DCs that they set in modules and set my own, and all my DCs are set situational. And basically set, depending on who's rolling and what they're rolling for. Example, if Karnos was rolling a strength check on something, being the fact that he is a hero, he's a human, he's a fighter, his DC would be slightly lower than Mirabelle's DC for the same skill check because of who they are racially and their class as well. Exactly, Cameron. Keep it simple, stupid. I think what 5e's done in some respects is they've made it easier, but in others they've made it more difficult as well. So I don't think they've really found that common ground with a lot of those sort of things. Definitely the easiest one to get into for sure, but there's a lot of things that I still like to change.
They have tweaked it. There should be an update coming through in the next couple of weeks with some tweaks. They've changed some of the class abilities and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to actually see what it all was.
Mirabelle has to go to bed.
No, I'm gonna say goodnight, guys, because I'll go to bed. I'm falling asleep here.
Sweet.
See you later. She's got a long day.
Night, Nutty.
Night.
Cheers, Nutty.
Bye, everybody.
All right, chat. Say good night to Nutty. She's got to go to bed, and we'll be looking at ending this very, very shortly. But yes, 5e. I enjoy 5e. I really enjoyed 2.5. I think was probably my favorite edition. And so Baz and I have played a number of RPGs, tabletop RPGs. Baz has created several over the years. We've played Warhammer. I think Baz, you're in the process of creating another system at the moment, which is basically a game system that you're developing on your own, which is trying to simplify things as well. So
I've pretty much created it. I just have to give it a few test runs, really.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I'm looking forward to playing that and testing that out as well. So Scathers or Trashy.
I'll put my hand up for that.
Yeah, well, I'll do it.
We're not sure whether that'll be a streamed thing or whether it'll be a tabletop thing. Probably it was aimed more at the tabletop, wasn't it?
I'll try it on tabletop, and if it works, Sean, then we can do a one-shot stream with it. But
cool.
It's more of a post-apocalyptic type reality sort of game. You know, how would you put it? You can set it in like any time you want, really, but it's very Mad Max-ish.
Huh?
Well, you've got two certified game testers here, so well, D&D testers.
That's sweet.
But
Sweet, man. It's good to know.
Definitely looking at. If any of you guys too, like, and talking to the players here, if any of you guys ever want to run a one shot, if you want to try out DM, hit me up. I know Michelle's talked about doing a steampunk style Victorian area one shot, which we'll probably look at after the homebrew campaign. Before we look at going into something else, we are considering doing a Vampire Masquerade campaign. At some point, we've just got to look at some finer details for that. But if you, even during those campaigns, we're running a full campaign, and one of you guys wants to run a one shot, just let me know. I'm more than happy to play in a one shot and let someone else. So Adam, I know you have DM'd in the past, so if you wanted to DM a one shot, I'd be more than happy for you to take the DM's chair for a session or two and one shot on stream.
Oh, you don't want me to be a DM. I'm a prick.
Best kind of DMs, man, I tell you. A harsh DM is a good DM in my opinion. Definitely. Cameron,
yep,
no, I'm keen.
Interested.
With the wild mount, I'm definitely keen on the wild mount content. I enjoy the wild mount stuff. The Critical Role.
I've got to look in that.
I may look at buying that book, but
well, if you do, I've already got it, so we can do content enabling whatever on D&D Beyond, so you can have it. Yeah.
Steve Jackson Sorcery Serpents. What is that?
Is that the one you held up, Trash?
Yeah, me and Becca, we did 3 modules. We've got our names in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's 3.5 edition.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's cool.
That's yeah. Anywho, guys, I think we're going to call it there. We are running, we're now almost half hour over our usual finish time, but we are going to find someone to raid. Don't forget, guys, 2 channel points during the game. If you click on the gold coin at the bottom under your chat window, you will see the channel points, things you can use channel points for. You can highlight a message, you can choose an emote to unlock, or choose a random emote to unlock. You can also hit us up for posture check, which I'm really bad at slouching, so definitely use that. You can give luck or an inspiration to one of the players, which can stack up to 5 times. So if you've got enough points and you want to give Karnos a luck roll or an inspiration, or Zadriel or anyone like that, definitely use those. That's what they're there for. You can also guide the raid, so if you want to choose who we raid, use that. Also too, if you want to create a character, which Yanti has just done, 25,000 points, you can give me a name, a race, and a class. DM me in the Discord with the name, race, and class of an NPC you would like to see in the homebrew campaign. I will create that NPC and introduce them into the game at some point. It will not be obviously the very next show or even the show after that. It may take a couple of 2 or 3 sessions to get it in there, but I will endeavour to put your NPC into the homebrew campaign. So Michelle, DM me in the Discord with a race, name, and class. We will endeavour to get your character in there. So, on that note, we shall just check out who is online right now and see. D20 TV is streaming. And then before we've got viewers have been going for just over an hour. We try and raid someone different every week if we can. Wait for the ad to finish. So we've got Dragons Are Cats. Running for just over an hour. Like they are running Dragons Brew D&D episode 124 Desert Storm. So probably well into their campaign.
They may, she's like, you may not be able to use it.
Get them for a second. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out for us. Epic Dwarf, thank you very much. Let's have a quick Piper Halliwell with the one month, the tier 1 sub and the 50 bits. Thank you so much. Welcome, Piper. We haven't seen you for a long time. Welcome back. Stidley with the follow. Baz with the tier 1 8-month sub. Resub. We've had that's about it tonight, but thank you so much for your support, guys. Thank you for the viewers. Epic Dwarf, thank you for hanging out. And everybody else, and we will now raid. Dragons Are Cats, and we will see you all on Sunday night for the homebrew campaign. Until then, take care, stay safe, bye.